Hello and welcome to the Gooner Talk, back again with you guys and girls for another episode of what is indeed the Arsenal Raw Reaction Show, joining you after the disappointing result at Southampton last night. Can you see the bags under my eyes? It was a very, very late night. Got in about 1:30 in the morning, long drive, parked in a multi-storey car park in Southampton, which then, as I went to leave at about 11:30 in the evening, then got stuck in everybody trying to leave the multi-storey, which means I didn't get home till, as I say, about 1:30. It was horrible. The game was terrible. It was just and completely predictable as well. I was saying to people before the game, I didn't give you my prediction purposefully yesterday. I didn't really want to bring the mood down. I didn't think we'd win this game, and I was saying it to people in the press room before the game. I said, I think Southampton will go through. I don't think we will go through in this game. But I didn't want to say that yesterday morning because the mood was still quite positive from people. After the international break, I didn't want to bring things down. And I'm not saying this now as kind of I told you so, because if I did, I would have said it yesterday. But my head is fine. My mood is fine. I'm very disappointed. I'm frustrated. If you come here to watch somebody melt down and scream and shout at a camera about the result last night, you're not going to get that. So you're probably better off going elsewhere. And I'm going to open up the phone lines today to give you the opportunity of, if you need to kind of get some frustration out, and we're going to have a bit of a therapy session. Now is the time to do that. So we're going to open up the phone line shortly, but I'm not going to open them up just yet because I do want to, kind of just talk to you a little bit, I guess, about kind of how I feel, what I'm feeling, what I think about the game, what I think what happened. What Arteta said afterwards, and a few things just before I kind of go into the chat and get some of your thoughts, and obviously then open up the phone lines and give some of you the opportunity to hop on if you want to. There's no pressure. I understand that these moments are pretty low, and as I always say, if you do need to take a break, take a break. Football is frustrating, hard, annoying, irritating, and really painful in periods. So yeah, if you need to take a break, come back later. So where's my head at? Arsenal played the team which I said they would play. We did our show yesterday. I predicted Kepa, White, Mosquera, Gabriel. We said one of Gabriel or Saliba. Lewis Skelly, Havertz, Nørgaard with Norgard, Daumann, Jesus, and Martinelli. We predicted it spot on. It was a very predictable team. And the reality is, that I think we basically sacrificed this FA Cup. Arteta played the team, and we could predict it because it was so easy to predict. We sacrificed this cup competition. We played a team that rested the most players that we could rest. As Arteta pointed out, there's players playing with problems and there's players not here with problems. And 2 weeks off in an international break doesn't solve those problems. It helps those problems. But there was 10 players that pulled out of international duty. One of those players played in this game. He came off injured. And we've got to pray and hope that it's not too serious. That's the reality. The performance overall created the chances to win the game, didn't take them. How many times have we said that this season? How many times has Arteta said that this season? And that's what I said to him afterwards. His opening kind of statement, if you like, in the post-match press conference was really disappointed in the manner that we lost the opportunity to get back to Wembley. I think the game had many, many periods of dominance, but our side, when we generated chances, situations, we didn't capitalise on them. How many times have I sat in a press conference and heard Mikel Arteta say, we created loads of chances, we didn't capitalise on them? This person didn't take this chance. This person didn't take this chance. This person didn't take this chance. How many times have we said that? So many times. And I said that to Mikel after the game. I think we've often talked about the idea that we've created a lot of chances, but that they've not been taken. Is this a broader problem? Is this something that can only be addressed in the summer? Does something need to change to address that? I don't expect him to go, yeah, we're going to go sign loads of players. But the question has to be asked. Because we can't sit and say the same things every single week. We can't sit and say we've not taken these chances because it's costing us, because it is. And, he defended his players. He loves his players. Get that. He's not going to criticize them. He's going to take ownership. He has to take responsibility. But the reality of these cup games, right? So Arsenal have had lower league opposition in every single cup game in the FA Cup this season. The League Cup, obviously, we've played Palace and we've played Brighton and we've played City and we've played Chelsea. But in the FA Cup, we've had all lower league oppositions. And when we do these FA Cup draws, it's like these FA Cup draws, I'm always thinking, Oh, it'd be great to get a lower league team. We've played 3 of the 4 games that we've played in this cup competition away from home. Portsmouth away, Mansfield away, Southampton away. Reality is, away games are hard. You'd rather have a Premier League team at home than a lower league opposition away. Because when you go away from home against these lower league opposition sides, as we saw at Portsmouth, as we saw at Mansfield, they're up for it. They have the momentum. They have the night, the occasion. It's all about that. We saw it in Mansfield, made loads of changes, scraped by a League One team. Manchester United go to Grimsby, get knocked out. Other Premier League have been beaten by these teams. There is no, and we had no momentum in this game. Nothing because we'd lost the cup final, nothing because we heavily rotated, nothing because of those. And when you kind of take all those factors into the account, the gap between the 2 teams starts to close. It closes, it closes, it closes, it closes. And you get a much more even game, and it was an even game. Both teams had chances. Both teams could have won this game, and either team could have gone through on the night. It's football. But what's disappointing is some of the individual performances that we saw last night. There's a number of players in this team that, quite frankly, I'd be happy never seeing playing an Arsenal shirt again. And that might sound harsh coming from someone like me, but that is the reality. There are some players in that team who I will happily never see play for Arsenal again, or at very minimum, never start a game for Arsenal again. The level has gone above them. We have outgrown them. We have evolved beyond them. Gabriel Jesus is the biggest example of that. I think I was, a lot of people said I was generous with some of my player ratings. To be honest, I probably had a bit of an off night with player ratings. It happens. Arsenal have off nights. I have off nights. I think a 3 was generous for Gabriel Jesus. Offered nothing. Absolutely. I think I wrote 3 words to describe. I've never done that before. I've never written less than 3 words. I don't think I've ever written less than 10 or 15 words to describe a player. I think Jesus said, offered very little. Nothing. Havertz in midfield is an experiment we've tried in the past. It doesn't really work. And I know that we talked about trying it, and it's about needs must. Havertz was in midfield because we didn't have Marino. Havertz was in midfield because we didn't have Eza. Havertz was in midfield because when Aries not here. Havertz is in midfield because Nkapie is injured and we couldn't play Miles there. That's why Havertz is in midfield. I'm not really going to judge that performance too much off of a midfield game. It's a bit of a waste of time for me to do so because I know what he offers us when he's not in that position and instead is either playing second striker or centre forward. Gabriel Martinelli is a player that Arsenal need to upgrade on. Did some good things, did some less good things, wasn't really effective. He's a player that Arsenal need to upgrade upon. Christian Mosquera doesn't balance very well with Gabriel. They're 2 very committed players. They're 2 very tenacious players. They're players that like to go for the ball. And that situation that opened up when Gabriel headed the ball backwards and Mosquera had to go and recover it, that's because they don't match up very well. And that's why if we are to lose one of Saliba or Gabriel, I'm actually kind of glad that it's Saliba that might be the one that's fit and then Mosquera goes to left centre half because I think it balances up a lot better. Ben White has had a lot of injuries. He's had a really difficult week. He's had a really up and down week. But when we think about levels here, I mean, I cannot believe that some people would ever put really Ben White in a position where he should be starting consistently over a player of the level of Jurriën Timber. Jurriën Timber is a level above Ben White. He just is, and that's the reality. Miles Lewis-Skelly, a lot of retrospective talk during the international break. Look at his performance against Moldova's under-21s. How can we ever think about selling this player? For the record, I don't want him to be sold. Don't think he should be sold, but I think he needs to go on loan. Miles Lewis-Skelly had a brilliant season last season, a surprise, shock, rise to that group. But that was a really disappointing performance. And if we're being very brutally honest, it's not been the first and it won't be the last. He needs more time. He needs consistency. He needs to play regularly and he's not going to get that. And he needs to go on loan next season, Miles Lewis-Skelly. Needs to play regularly and we need to keep that talent. We need to nurture that talent. But, I think we can all see here that that is obviously a level that is not being reached on a consistent basis right now, but it's definitely still the talent is there, and I believe that he will go on to succeed, hopefully at Arsenal, but I think he needs to go on loan. Kepa needs to never play in an Arsenal shirt again. We've missed David Raya greatly. David Raya's influence, I think I underrated it in the cup final, but it was massively on display here. Hugely on display here. I don't think we lost the cup final because we didn't have David Raya. I think we lost the cup final because we were beaten by a better team. But David Raya definitely helped. And we all talked about the idea that we'd all rather David Raya started that game. I wanted Raya to start the final. I wanted Raya to start this game. I don't think you need to rest a goalkeeper. It's just sympathy. It's just sentiments. They're the only reasons why you rotate your keeper from 1 to 2. Keepers don't tend 9 times out of 10 to need rest. They just don't. They don't need rest. They need sometimes some mental rest, but he got that. Didn't really play for Spain, played like 60 minutes in the second game. David Raya should have started this game. He didn't. Do you know why he didn't? Because of sentiment, a lack of ruthlessness, and a lack of actually that will to really just go for it, because we're not fussed. It didn't strike me like we were too fussed last night. And in some ways, people will rightly point out that that's unforgivable, and I get that. But equally, I think there's another argument, another side of the coin, which is Premier League is the priority this season. No one can tell me that they would have gone hell for leather and played players that were carrying something, risked Timber, risked Saka, risked Rice. If you're telling me that you'd rather risk those players to go for an FA Cup that could potentially derail our Premier League title, I'm sorry, I'm not on the same boat as you. I can't get there. Can't get to that. I accept what we did last night. I accept we did what we had to do last night, and we were punished for it. But what we did last night, the players that played last night had to play, other than the goalkeeper. He's the only position on that pitch that I had real issue in us using, because we know from the cup final that Kepa makes big mistakes. And it's not just about mistakes, because I don't really blame him for the 2 goals. Could maybe do a little bit better for the first. He's certainly not saving the second, but it's not about that. It's about distribution. It's about confidence. It's about mentality. It's about comfortability. It's about the influence that a player has on the others around him. And our best back 5 is David Raya, Jurriën Timber, William Saliba, Gabriel, and one of Calafiori and Hincapié. We had one of those 5 players in that team. One of them. So when you change 4 of your back 5, you're going to see a wildly different foundation. And the foundation that was there last night was disjointed. The gap between the midfield and the back line was pretty horrendous. They ran through us so comfortably. There are players jumping into different zones that they just shouldn't. I'm talking particularly about Mosquera and Gabriel. Lewis Skelly made continuous mistakes. And Ben White just looked a shadow of the player that we know he can be. His head's not there. And when your head's not there, and when that then kind of snowballs and rebounds and, goes into all these different areas, it's a recipe for disaster. Absolutely recipe for disaster. And that's why Arsenal didn't win this game. They could have. They could have won this game, but they didn't. So there's my moan out the way, if you like. 2 more players I want to talk about before I talk about the bigger picture. And then I'm going to open up the phone lines and, of course, get some of your reaction comments as well. And we'll get some of your feelings. 2 players I want to talk about. The first deserves so much credit, and that is Max Dowman. What a wonderful player. In fact, I almost feel I look back, and sometimes you sleep on these things, you sleep on what you've written, you think about what you said. And I think I was more frustrated at the overall performance that I actually marked Max Dowman so harshly last night. With not giving him an 8, I gave him a 7, and I look back and I don't think it's a 9, because I think you have to kind of grab a goal or get an assist if you're going to get into those brackets. You have to do a lot if you're going to get a 9, but 7 was so underrating him. Max Dowman, there's this kind of weird dynamic where we go, wow, Max Dowman is brilliant. Look at what he's done. He's the player of the match. He was the best player on the pitch against Mansfield in the last round. He was the best player on the pitch against Southampton in this round. And that's brilliant. And he's brilliant. And he's great. And he should play more. The other side of the coin is, how the F is a 16-year-old outshining players that have sometimes 10 years on him? More than 10 years. That isn't acceptable. That the 16-year-old, no matter how brilliant, no matter how talented he is, and he is both of those things and more, should not be dragging Arsenal Football Club to the next round of the FA Cup. Shouldn't be. How that 16-year-old is playing with so much confidence and a lack of fear, a lack of anxiousness, a lack of apprehension, the will to go and gun and fight and play, and so many others, not at least 8 other players on that pitch didn't, is so frustrating. So frustrating. Incredibly frustrating. I said 2 players, I meant 3. The other player is Victor Gyökeres. Victor Gyökeres came on, looked good. I'm excited about Victor Gyökeres, which is not something I've tended to say, as you long-term listeners will know. I'm excited about Victor Gyökeres. I'm excited about what he can do, but I'm worried as well. I'm not worried about him. I'm worried about the players around him. We've talked a lot about service, right? And I think that in the first half of the season, there was more that Victor Gyökeres needed to do. It wasn't just about service. It was about touch. It was about timing. It was about runs. It was about application. It was about technical level. We know what Victor Gyökeres is. Victor Gyökeres isn't the most technically gifted footballer in the world, and he's never going to be. He's 27. He's not going to develop into that player. But you know what Victor Gyökeres is? Victor Gyökeres is one of the most lethal finishers in the world. Get the ball to him in those areas, he will score. He did it last night. He did it for Sweden. He's done it this season. That was his 17th goal for Arsenal this season. Do you know what it was also? It was his first touch. It might have been his I think he had probably less than 5 touches. That's been the norm, right? We've talked about how Gabriel Jesus has come off the bench and had 12 touches. That was never to say Gabriel Jesus is better than Gyökeres. That was never what that was about. There was definitely moments where I was like, oh, I just can't see it. I don't think this is the guy. But we need to be more. There needs to be better around Victor, So, and opinions change. You get more evidence, you see more games, you see bigger pictures, and that means that infers on what you talk about. We got the ball into Victor in that position once in the game. And what happened in that one moment? He scored. So get the ball to him in those positions. He needs to stay there, obviously, yes. He needs to be in those positions too. He needs to get into those positions. But get the ball to Victor in those positions. He'll score. Guarantee you, he'll score. He'll score goals. He's done it all season. He's doing it now. He's done it then. He's done it on the international break. He's done it. That's 2 of the 3 players that I want to talk about. The third player I want to talk about is Martin Odegaard. And he's probably watching, Clive, I love you to pieces. I am so on board with like 99% of everything you say, but I'm so not on board with how Martin Odegaard is spoken about by you, by other people. I'm so frustrated about how Martin Odegaard gets talked about. That performance last night from Martin Odegaard showed me so much hope. People that talk about the back heel and, he gave the ball away, it led to... Do you know how much has to happen from that back heel before they go and score? Do you know how much happens after that back heel that he gives the ball away and they go and score? I love the fact that back heel happened. And people are like, what do you mean you love the fact? We gave the ball away. They went and scored. Do you know why I love the fact that back heel happened? Because he trusts Max Dowman. He trusts that 16-year-old that he's playing with. And if there was one player that was given the ball as much as possible to Max, getting Max in the game, getting Max involved in the game, it was Martin. He did that back heel assuming that Max would read it. He didn't. He's 16. He's not played many minutes. He's not played at this level loads. And those relationships, those partnerships, that understanding needs to grow, needs to, build up momentum. I love the fact that he attempted it. I love the fact that he's trusting Max within those moments. That shows me there is faith there is belief there, and there is a will to these players to get him into this game. But Odegaard, everything in those first 30 minutes, and there was moments where we were like frustrated and Southampton attacked us. But the soul of the attack in the central part of the area was all about Odegaard. And that's an Odegaard that hasn't got Rice, that hasn't got Zubimendi. I mean, oh God, goodness me. I mean, I know we've ranted and raved, and let's be honest, people who have been saying about, why don't we play Norgard instead of Zubimendi? That's never been the problem. The problem has been not taking Zubimendi off later in games for Norgard. It's not been about starting Norgard over Zubimendi. Zubimendi's played way too many minutes. And that's because we've not brought Norgard on in the end of games and taken Zubimendi off. It's not because we haven't started Norgard over. Norgard can't hold a candle to Martin Zubimendi in terms of the ability to play the number 6 role. Norgard can't hold a candle to Jorginho, who is the player that we have replaced with Norgard. That was a big step down. And we've seen that this season. Jorginho is just a wildly better player than Norgard is. So that kind of gap, if you like, between those two is significant, and we've seen that this season. But it does not mean that we shouldn't still be trusting the player enough to come on and give Zubi those minutes. But anyway, yes, Odegaard playing with no centre forward. Jesus was invisible in this game. was playing with no Rice, no Zubimendi, and out of form Ben White. And what Odegaard did last night gave me so much hope. Missed a big chance, was in the right place for it, but unfortunately didn't execute it properly. Gave me so much hope. And I still personally believe that he and Havertz, if Arsenal are going to win this Premier League title, are going to be so important, as is Victor, as clearly is Max, and these players that are yet to come back. And I love this comment from Joe. Odegaard was actually very good for someone who just came back. He's not fully fit. So if you're expecting him to bust a gut to get back in moments, you're not going to get that because he's not going to overwork himself. Other players had to do that for him. So if that was your expectation, I'm sorry that your expectations are up here when they should be more reasonable about a player who's missed so much football. So screw it on a little bit tighter. Think about it a bit deeper. But what he did, despite just coming back after such a long period off the title, I was so hopeful, so encouraged by what we saw. But Max Dowman was obviously the best player on the pitch. No doubt about that. Okay, there's the players. Let's talk about the bigger picture, and let's talk about then with you. Let's get some of your comments and thoughts on the show as well. Arsenal haven't won a trophy since 2020. And the narrative of quadruples and trebles has not been by us. It's not been by Arsenal fans. It's not been by people writing that, in my opinion, have the interests of Arsenal wanting to do well at heart. It's just not been that narrative. Talking about quadruples and trebles for this Arsenal team is just beyond the realms of reality. You don't go from winning nothing for 6 years to suddenly picking up 3 trophies in a single season. You just don't. When United won the treble, they were a brilliant team that had won titles. When City won the treble, they were a brilliant team that had won titles. The reality is that you just don't. Arteta's not had a squad like this. We've not had a squad like this. And this kind of mega rotation has not worked this season. The rotation has not worked in the right way. And what we've needed more is game management. I say it time and time again that Arteta's biggest fallback, biggest problem, biggest area of improvement is in-game management. Management of games, changing of players in games. That's the biggest thing for me that needs to change. It's not about rotation. It's about in-game resting, in-game changes. And that's not been there. We've not done that in the best way this season. And yes, injuries have been there, but I don't like leaning on them, even though they've been ridiculous again this season. But in some ways, that is, in part, some of our own doing. Because we've not rested players effectively towards the end of games. We've overplayed players in many, many scenarios. Some players have been rushed back too soon, Odegaard being a prime example of that. What I'm trying to say here is that if Arsenal only win the Premier League this season, no one should be disappointed with that. No one should be disappointed by just winning a Premier League title. And there's no guarantee that happens yet, by the way, so don't take that for granted. I am worried. I am concerned. I feel like we're on a knife edge here, and I don't know which way we're going to fall. I feel like we're going to fall towards winning it. But what is on the other side of that? It's like a knife face up on the edge of a cliff. And if the knife goes one way, it's not just the knife edge that goes. It's also the fact you're kind of, you're landing in a realm of happiness and relief and champions. The knife goes on the other way. I feel like I'm going to fall down a 40-foot cliff and the knife's going to stab me on the way down. That's how I feel. That's how it's like this. And either side of that coin, either side of that edge is the most, I don't know what the word is. Two ends of a spectrum, contrasting, oxymoronic, juxtaposed. I'm thinking of all the words I can. The two ends of those spectrums is what Arsenal season are. Premier League title, brilliance, joy, jubilation, relief, vindication, justification, pure elation and euphoria. The other side, not winning anything. Because I don't think that we will win the Champions League, in all honesty. I don't. I think we've got enough to win a Premier League this season. I don't think we've got enough to win the Premier League and the Champions League. I thought we might lift another cup. Got to a cup final, obviously, and didn't play very well in it. But the other side of that coin is just, it's too horrible to imagine. Someone who does a show every single day, that speaks to fans every single day, that takes so much crap from horrible trolls online every single day, but hears and gets amazing messages from wonderful people like you listening. I cannot imagine what that awful, horrible thing over there could be like. And thankfully, we've done so much this season to put us in a really good position to experience the other thing. So please do not underestimate how brilliant, how joyous, how wonderful and impressive winning the Premier League would still be just because of what's happened in these cup competitions here. Because I can explain away those cup competition performances. I can explain them away because of things out of our control, because of things in our control that we did wrong, mainly the goalkeeper, mainly not resting players in game well enough to prepare ourselves for these moments, and mainly being out of knowledge of how to use a squad of this size and bulk and depth in the right way. And that's something that we will improve upon and learn. A team like Manchester City can go and win multiple cups after a season of winning nothing last season because Pep's done it for years. He's been in this position for years, not just at Man City, but at other clubs. But that's not where we are. We haven't won anything in 6 years. So the idea of quadruples and trebles is a narrative spouted by the media who don't want Arsenal to do that. People talking about trebles and quadruples, I'm sorry, they don't want them to do it. They're talking about it to create that disappointment, to create that vision, to give you the poisoned apple, if you like. That's why they talk about it. There are a lot of teams that can win trophies, but there are only 4 that can be won. And if Arsenal win one of the very big 2, it will be a brilliant achievement. No question. It's what we've been chasing. We've waited 22 years for this. We have had to wait 22 years while other teams are facing sanctions, while other teams have been punished for their behavior, and while other teams have spent huge sums of money, more than we have, while we have had to go through periods of utter awfulness. And when finally we've been able to be competitive, both in the market and on the pitch, we have fought tooth and nail to get here. So do not tell me that just a Premier League title is a disappointing season, because my goodness me, you need to get real and realize what sport you are enjoying and watching every single week, because that's just not the way that it is. Right, I'm going to open up the phone lines now and get some of you on the show, get some of your thoughts, some of your feelings, some of your reactions. I did call this the Arsenal Therapy Show, so maybe you've got questions for me. I'll put a link to today's StreamYard in the chat. Of course, as always, you know the rules. Usual rules apply. You need to be over the age of 18. Of course, you need to have a webcam. You need a quiet place to record. Please don't be out and about. Please don't be in your car. Please don't be anywhere other than a quiet place to record, upload, good internet, all that usual stuff. It's a family show, so keep it respectful. Really would appreciate that. But I'll put that link into the chat box now so that you can join, should you so wish. Right, let's go to part 2, your questions and more, right after this. Right, this is part 2 of today's show. We're going to be jumping into the chat box and we're going to take in some of your calls as well. Let's say hello to some people in the chat box. I know I didn't do that at the start of the episode. My head's on a different planet today. Let's scroll up, see and go right to the beginning if I can. It might be a little tricky, but let's see if we can. We've got Kirill and Black Shine. We've got Knowledge and Rancid and Daniel, John, Connorine. We've got Rancid. We've got Good as 76. We've got Martin, Beanie Bun. We've got Paul. We've got Matt. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you happen to be in the world, people. Thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate your time. Thank you for being here. Right, let's get our first caller on. Kirill joins us first. Very active, of course, member of the chat box. How you doing, man? You good? You well?
Hello, Tom.
Can't hear you, Kirill. I can hear you now. I can hear you now.
Oh, yeah. So I want to suggest something. I think we should stop playing Martinelli at left wing.
Yeah.
He can't do it. And if we were to play him at all, I would prefer him as a striker, maybe.
Who would you have played on the left yesterday?
But I think it would be nice to see Saka on the left with Darwin on the right, because Saka has been playing on the left in the past, both as left winger and in very early days as left back, wing back left. But Saka can do really well on the left, and considering Dauman once again was one of our better players at 16, he would do good at the right. So I would suggest Dauman at the right and try Saka on the left, or either Saka at 10 and do Esther when he's fit again at the left wing.
Yeah, I've been calling for Ezra on the left all season. People know I've wanted to see it. Like, I agree with you. I don't think Martinelli is of the level. Whether it's moving Saka there with the remaining games we've got this season, I'm not sure if this is necessarily the time, but I think certainly into next season and future seasons, we need to be more malleable with how we use Saka in different roles, especially with Dauman coming through. I think we need to think about how we use Saka in the central areas. The left, I don't know how good he will be. I've seen Madueke out there as a left footer. I've not really liked what I've seen from him there necessarily, but that's not to say that Saka wouldn't do well.
Yeah, but I do like Madueke. But my problem, Tom, for me is that the fact that he tries to dribble past the defenders, unlike Saka, but his pace is faster than his thinking and his passing. He needs to pass the ball quicker. They're really much more dangerous. And I hate to say it, but it's not just the media talking about the quadruple. In our own chat, the last couple of weeks, a month, so many people talked about the quadruple. I never did.
They've talked about the quadruple, mate, because it's been implanted in their mind.
We first jinxed it for ourselves.
It's like the people in this fan base, Kirill, are talking about the quadruple because people outside the fan base have got it in their heads that is a realistic and reality that they can go for, and it's not. So yes, Arsenal fans have talked about the quadruple, but it's been put in their heads by people. That's the reality.
Because they want us to fail. They want to fail.
Yeah, of course.
They want us to fail. They want us to laugh if we don't win it. They want us see Arsenal. They're fucking it up again.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think that, that's why people are of that mindset. I get it. People have wanted to fail. They've put them on this pedestal. They've put all the pressure on them. City haven't been a factor this season, despite the fact that they've obviously been falling behind Arsenal for the majority of it. They've hidden in Arsenal's shadow all season, and they're now emerging from that shadow as a real presence and force towards the end of the season. So, that is the reality. Kirill, I've got a lot of people that I need to get through. Last word.
I think we do stand a chance against Sporting, but even if you make it past Sporting, I think Barcelona will shatter us and destroy us. I think
we will see.
Might make it past Sporting. Let's see and wait and see. But I think if we even get past Sporting, Barcelona will be really, really, really difficult if you get past Sporting at all at this rate.
We will see, but we got to get there first. I'm only focused.
Yeah, and I still believe we can win the league, but I really hope that Chelsea can at least get a point at home against City, or at least not lose. If Chelsea lose to City at home, that would be fucking horrible for me.
Right, Kirill, I'm just going to remove Kirill because I did say it's a family show and I'm trying to avoid the swearing. But I really appreciate your call, Kirill. Thank you so much for that. Warsaw Gooner's up next. How you doing, mate? You good, Joel? Say hi.
Well, how am I? That's a tough question. Good morning, everyone. I honestly don't think Chelsea is going to get a point on City, especially without Enzo.
I don't either. No, not for the rest.
Tom, I do have a question to you. Because I think there is this momentum shifting currently happening, right? What we should do as a team to cope with that? Because obviously City, they scored 4 on Liverpool. They just beat us in the cup. So I'm pretty sure in the back of the minds of all the players, there is that shadow looming. What we should do as a team to not get broken by that, especially with the history of the last 3 years.
I think that from an Arsenal perspective, when you look at the team that played last night, that's not the team that's going to start the majority of the games that we have left this season, is it? Are we going to have, Rice is going to play, Saka's going to play, Raya's going to play, Saliba's going to play, Timber's going to play. Hopefully Ez's injury is not too bad and comes back in the next few weeks as well. Odegaard's going to play more and get back. Hopefully Max gets to play more minutes. Trossard's going to play. Calafiori's going to play, and Capia hopefully back as well at some point too. Zubimendi's going to play. So the team that played last night, the majority of those players are not, for me, going to be starting the majority of the games that are left. And they need to give fans the belief in the game against Sporting on Tuesday night. They need to go into that because Sporting are going to go for it. Sporting are going to go for Arsenal on Tuesday. They've seen City do it. They've seen Southampton do it. You can get joy if you go for Arsenal. So they absolutely need to go for it from an Arsenal point of view into that game with confidence, with almost a chip on their shoulder, and go into that game to win it, claim that first leg win, and then of course be able to, in some ways, be a little bit more reserved, if you like, to rest and game manage while they've got these Premier League games around. Because Etihad is only less than 2 weeks away, or 2 weeks
It
away.
It is indeed.
We need to be in such a better mindset after Sporting and Bournemouth and then Sporting again to go into that City game. We need momentum. This season could hinge on the Bournemouth game at the weekend, because if they don't win that game, there's no way they'll have the confidence to go to City the weekend after that. So these 3 games are so critical to this season for me. What about you?
Speaking of Sporting, like I'm not following the Portuguese league,
Sure.
but I'm not really that worried about Sporting. I just
People
saw
said that about Southampton.
Honestly speaking, I would be more worried about Southampton rather than Sporting, because Portuguese league, Gyökeres was putting 30 plus goals every single season past those defenders. So I think all in all, I think we should be pretty good with Sporting. I do agree that Bournemouth is probably going to be a game-defining season, and it's probably the 5th or 6th time we are mentioning that over the course of last 2 months. I do hope you're right. Obviously, yesterday was a tough game. I think it was the first time that after an Arsenal game, I didn't speak to anyone after the game finished. I just went, washed my dishes, and tried to tune out. But thank you. You gave me a bit of optimism. I am also looking forward to the team returning to full strength. And we just got to get it over the line. And I think in Etihad, we got to play brave, because if we're going to repeat what we've done in the final, they're going to destroy us.
100%.
We have to just go for it and try to take the win there and seal the trophy this way.
Spot on, mate. Pleasure to speak with you. Thank you for your call.
Thank you. Have a good one, everyone.
You too. Lovely stuff. Right, Tom's up next. How you doing, Tom? You good? You well?
Yeah, well, as much as I can, according to the situation. Yeah. Life 2 weeks ago, we were, like you said, in the final up there, and everything was shining bright, and now it's all doom and gloom. Well, I think a lot of things I wanted to say you kind of covered up regarding the players, obviously, who shouldn't be here, who should be here, was good. I wanted to say something about Norgard, but you managed to put it inside as well. That I think with it, the idea of letting Jorginho go, I understand why, but the idea of letting him go looks so crazy now. He was so underappreciated now when you see Norgard playing and understanding that. Jorginho was our number 2 and how good he was compared to what we have now.
That's the position on the pitch that's regressed. In terms of the 2 players, Partey and Jorginho, to Zubi and Norgard. For me, Zubimendi's a better 6 than both of those. When he, absolutely shattered, and that's showing. But as a pair,
I agree.
Yeah,
and I wanted to do the big talking about Arteta and his record regarding the cups and like you said, his game management, because this is, for me, this is what will define Arteta as between being a good manager and a great manager, because the game against City, Pep Guardiola, it showed us what's a bit of the difference, what the experience, the idea that in the cup final, Pep was able to recognize our weakness, while Arteta was kind of stunned and he couldn't react to it. And this is kind of different between them. This is why, Arteta, even though he's a man, I love him and he's amazing coach, and he's done everything. He brought us back to life as a football club. This is still the difference between him and a Pep, or a Ferguson, and he needs to improve that. And if he won't be able to improve that, even if we win the Premier League, there will still be a question mark about him, I think, as a question of can he turn this one title into an empire, because we see what happens now.
That is the question, Tom, that will remain. Obviously, there's no doubt about that, right? But again, I need to raise this point. Like, this season is about the Premier League. Like that.
I know, obviously, and this is my second point now. That on the other side, yes, everything you said and you raised it, and I want to raise it as well. But that's why you're in this business, because you see those things that I want to talk about. It. The fact is that, maybe it's all about the pressure. You ask yourself why Daumann was the player who kind of carried us here. But if you look at all the players who played yesterday, apart from maybe Gyökeres or Norgard, all the other players were there last year, were there 2 seasons ago, were there when we failed, and you see this, and I mean, you said it, the pressure, you see, we've been seeing it for months. The idea of those players, the City players, the one who've been there, I mean, yeah, they lose games, but they know they can do it. They've done it. You know, it's like, okay, we have a bad season, but we dust ourselves up. We pick ourselves up. We've been there. I mean, we can have a bad season and continue, but in us, it's the other way around. We're like, oh, this is amazing, but usually we fall back and we're going backwards compared to the City team, who can rise to the occasion, because everybody thought that after seeing how they played against Real Madrid, that's why, by the way, Real Madrid are so good in the Champions League, because their players have been there, have done that. They have the know, and we don't. And you saw this, you saw it yesterday, and as well. And it will, if we win the Premier League this year, hopefully, you'll see it. If we can go and build on it, or be like Liverpool, because you see, Liverpool is a great example of a manager who managed to win a title out of nowhere, but you see it, and now there's a big question: is can he continue working in Liverpool? He might end up not. It might get so. This is one I think, like the big question about Arteta. But again, like you said, we have to win something this year. I think it's a must. First of all, for our health.
It's a non-negotiable, to nick one of Arteta's words. This season. Tom, thank you. I haven't got any time, so I've got so many.
I will say just one word, that I still think we can win the title, because from one side, I do think that I see us winning most of our home games, and I don't see City winning all their away games. And City has the majority away games, and we have the majority home games.
At the moment,
so this is the only way. And by the way, people that think like, oh, City has the momentum, we've seen it before this season. I mean, when they close the gap to 2 points, everybody say we're all doom and gloom, and then they start dropping points again. So I don't think that because they just been too good for 2 games, that's it means that they're amazing and they will win all their games. I don't see it. I mean, we've seen it this season. They're not that team, but they're still a good team. And like you said, I mean, people misjudge it and saying that this league is bad and City are awful is just a nonsense that the media created for what you said, for this moment that will make our like bottling even bigger, which is not, because
which hopefully
Thank
you, mate. Appreciate you too. Thanks, man. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, pal.
Thank you very.
Lovely stuff. Let's get D on now. D, how you doing, man? You good? You well?
Yes, mate. You can hear me.
I can hear you. A little bit grainy, but I can hear you, so that's all good.
Oh, okay. I'm always grainy, especially after a match like that.
Indeed. Tell me how you're feeling, man.
I don't know, mate. I'm feeling. I would say that the level of disappointment. Obviously, there's a level of disappointment, right? I think there's a level of realization to a degree. Mate, we've been talking back and forth.
Oh, hold on. I've lost him. Oh, you're back. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We've been talking like for the majority of the season, and I feel like there's points that we've raised as a community, and I think we're now seeing these things play out in real time. For example, we've talked a lot about the in-game management, the rotation, which really all falls under squad utilization. And he hasn't utilised the squad properly, you know. And we've been talking about Rice getting burned out, getting injured. Now we've seen that. Zubimendi getting burned out. Norgard not getting enough game time. When we need him, he's not going to be up to the level. And we're seeing all that. You know, I think that some of the decision making for the managers put us in the position that we're in now. And I think this is where it really exposes him as that sort of, this is his first job. Do you know what I mean? It really does expose that. Had he been around the houses and around the leagues and been a bit more seasoned, would we be seeing this? Probably not. You know what I mean? So I think there is a realism that we have an expectation of Arteta. Sorry.
I said, what would be different? Like I get what you're saying. Like, Arteta's first job, and we're seeing kind of the shortcomings in his game. And I've talked about those shortcomings. I think his in-game management, how he utilizes a squad, all of that is definitely it. But I don't. The whole manager conversation for me is always a little bit reductive sometimes, because like you and me know that, like we know what his shortcomings are, we know what his things that he needs to improve on are. But
exactly. So what are we doing about it then? This is what I'm saying. It's like if we know it, then he's got to know it.
Yeah.
But what's being done about it? Because this isn't the first time we're seeing this. So we've talked about it because it's occurred so often. And we're seeing it now. In the past, when I've said about we make the same mistakes and don't learn from them, this is what I mean. So these things occur, but we don't put things in place to prevent it from occurring again. We don't seem to learn from it and grow from it. You're meant to grow through what you go through. And I just don't see that. I see us making the same mistakes. And I've said, go back and, I've said this before, and I do feel like a stuck record. I don't want to sound like that. I want to be more positive. And there has been times when we have seen
it's not a positive moment, mate. So I don't blame you. It's not a positive moment right now. I'm not going to ask you to be positive, because it's not a positive moment right now.
No, it's not a positive moment. If you want positivity, Max Dowman, that is probably the most positive thing we can talk about. But again, that's because he hasn't had the freedom coached out of him. We talked before about how the boss sees this freedom and the expression as risk. Because from if you were in his shoes, I can I've coached, I've played, I'm still working football. I can see what he's talking about, but that philosophy, I don't buy into that philosophy. So doesn't work for me. I think you need to speculate to accumulate, and I think when you talk about moments of magic, they come from players that have that intuition, that intuitive nature, the ones that just pop up like Ez has done. So if you think that moment, that goal in the Champions League on the half-term bang, that's a moment of magic, because somebody's taken that impulsive, intuitive touch and shot, and we don't see it. So
Trossard did that at Sunderland, though. Like, you think of the goal at Trossard. I mean, if we talk about goals with moments, Trossard's been here for years. I never get on board with the whole coached out of, because I do.
The reason why, Tom, is
let me
because
explain why I don't first, D, and then I'll let you.
Okay, yeah, sorry, mate. Go on.
No, it's fine. For me, the whole coached out of, like, as John McKenzie, who writes for The Athletic, wrote a really, really good tweet up during the City-Liverpool game yesterday. And it was around the idea about, like, if you don't do the basics, you will get screwed. And yesterday, Liverpool did zero basics. They threatened a little bit, and they got destroyed by the better team. Last night, Arsenal didn't do the basics. Defensive structure wasn't there. Foundation wasn't there. Understandings between players was not there. And that comes from drilling into players' system. It comes from how the expectations are when you're out of possession. It comes from all of that. And Arsenal have played with more freedom in 22-23, in 23-24, and 24-25. We played with more freedom that we've been talking about. Do you know what we won during those seasons? Absolute jack, mate. We won nothing during those seasons, because you can have freedom, you can have expression, you can have those players like Ezra or Bauman that can create these moments, and I think they are players who continue to create moments. But we won nothing in those seasons because to go as we will this season, in my opinion.
I can see what you're saying. I don't know how much coaching experience he has. All I can say is when you have, you need to, first of all, you say we've had freedom, we've not done much with it, so we didn't have the players, right? Simple. So if we had the quality of players that we have now, you would do more with that freedom. And I think when you coach and you see, and you have, I think as well, we've got a manager whose philosophy is so complex, the players, it's always on the front of their mind, keep the ball, because of the consequences, right? We don't see the consequences when they leave that pitch, but I can guarantee you there'll be consequences. They don't want them. We've seen consequences. We've seen that. We've seen a sort of an edge of that. But the what they go through every day, in terms of the way they have to think to get approval or get to that level or to earn his favor. So it becomes a way you sort of ingrain that. That's why it's called a drill, because then your neurological pathways start playing that way, right? So
partnerships,
yeah. So that's what we've got now. That means that when they're playing games, that freedom that they have, some of them have the capability of doing, they're second guessing themselves. Martin Odegaard is a perfect example of this, right? Because Martin Odegaard is a player that I've always admired, and when he first came, he was incredible. I feel now that he's on. I know he's had injuries, but I don't feel that he's come back from injury is an excuse or anything against a championship team. He should come in at that level, and I felt that what we saw yesterday was just more of the same with him, where he's second guessing himself. Like, you can see he wants to do things, but he also thinks of it, and then it's like, oh no, that's my intuition. I need to actually consider this, and then he'll turn around and he'll pass the ball. He looks very busy all the time. He always looks bright. He always looks busy, but actually, he doesn't really do too much. So he's running the ball.
I'm sorry, D. I can't agree with you on that. Which, as I pointed out earlier,
let me finish, please.
Okay,
let me finish,
fine.
please.
I'm going to come back on this hard.
Yeah. I know. But listen, I do admire it. I like Odegaard. But what we're seeing is he run the ball two players. He'll run past them. He'll then look up and pass the ball, and he vacates the middle too much, right? So then we're exposed. And what we saw yesterday, when he apart from the shot that he missed from 6 yards, all right, you can say he's not as sharp as he would be, fine. But when he gave that ball away, he left the team exposed. Our team were way too advanced for him to lose that ball there. And what we saw is that their player then dribbled the ball into the space, carried that ball half that pitch. Now, at no point did I see him attempt to track back either. So, like, it's like
fitness related, mate. That is fitness related.
It could well be fitness related, but then you should know your levels. These are all different. They're all different things that all come into the point that I just think the decision making is poor. What else did we see yesterday? We saw again.
Can I come back on the Odegaard thing quickly before we move on?
Yeah, sure.
Right. So, like, I have to take real issue with the point where you said, like, he doesn't do much. Like, I have to take issue with that, because for me, besides Dowman, he's our most involved player in that game last night. We'll just talk about last night.
But he should be.
Okay. But then he was, so I don't really see the argument there.
He's involved, Tom. He's involved because he gets the ball, right?
Yeah.
But he gets the ball, he'll run around. He takes too many touches. And that's a result of him trying to think.
No,
right?
That's a result of the players around him as well. It's a result of the broader, because Odegaard
of course, there's variables, isn't there?
Odegaard for me is a player that elevates. He's not a player that he's not like an Ezra or necessarily a Dowman.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Earlier, who do those moments and create those individual moments where they match win games with goals, and drives into the box. That's not the player Odegaard is. Odegaard for me is a elevator of those around him. But
I get what you're saying.
And so Gabriel Jesus last night, invisible, nothing. Genuinely would be happy if he doesn't play another minute of football again this season.
Yeah,
we've evolved beyond him, and he's regressed as a player. And so we're talking about a player in Odegaard who, despite being absent for so much of this season, I think he started 13 Premier League games this season, is ninth on the list of players for passes into the box. In total,
this season.
Not per game. This season, he is ninth
in all games, or just Premier League.
In the Prem.
Okay.
So Premier League players, he is ninth in terms of not per game. I'm talking about, because that would skew towards a player.
But Tom, we've spoken about this before. It doesn't always give you the quality of that, does it? When we talk about not passing it into the box, I can pass it in the box. You can pass it back to me. It's done nothing. You know what I mean? It doesn't give you the quality of that pass. It just tells you he's passed it in the box and out of the box.
But
you know what I mean? So you've got to be mindful of falling into that trap.
We're talking about like chances created. He's also up there for that. Like he's also
we've got to be mindful of falling into the trap, because the eye test and the stats this is why football's becoming too stat heavy, right? We're talking about XGs and all that. When they get possession, there's too many numbers involved in it now, right? We're making it a spreadsheet. You know what I mean? Football should be a spreadsheet. Football should be played. Football should be enjoyed.
I get that, mate. But what I'm saying is that if we talk, you can remove the numbers if you want, and we could talk about the player. But the player that I saw last night was the player that was, after Dowman, the next most involved. And the response of he should be. That's not a retort, because yes, he should be, and he was. It's like going, well, he should deliver letters, but he did deliver letters. Like, that's not a retort to the argument. You know what I mean? Like,
I think it's about expectations, right? Because I think for me, and I can't speak for him, I have high expectation of Odegaard because of what I've seen him do. Yeah, so he's not made it easy for himself when it comes to that, because we know what his ceiling is. We know what he can do. And I just feel that he's not done that for a very long time. We can say injuries, we can say this, we can say that. He does elevate players around him. I fully agree. And that's why I said previously, he's not a roaring captain. He's a captain that will lead from the back, right? Yeah. And that's what he does. And he elevates people. And I get that. Do you know what I mean? So I get that. But I feel like he's declining.
Yes. Can we agree, though, that yesterday, if we're really talking about what Arsenal's problems are, the problems are way beyond Martin right now. Like, we can talk about
listen.
Go on.
Yeah, the problem yesterday, right? If we're going to isolate it to yesterday, he gave the ball away that led to the goal. You said earlier there's a lot that can happen between that and the goal, right?
Yeah,
cool. But it's how he lost the ball, and it's where he lost the ball, and it's what the consequences of him losing the ball there then led to. Space open, dribbled through. No championship team should be dribbling through our team, our players, and then make it to the other end of the pitch.
In my opinion, there was a lot of championship level performances yesterday in that team. So I know what you say. Like, but Jesus,
but we got to be mindful. Like,
Kepa's not really. Like,
Kepa,
not really. Lewis Skelly's form this season has not been that of a Premier League level player. Like, if we're talking about it honestly, that the structure, the understanding, the group, that Southampton team, I just think it's a little reductive when we say like a championship team. This is a championship team that was effectively, I think, besides Shea Charles, was like one of the best teams that they could put together, that have gone unbeaten in their last 14 games. They've got a huge amount of momentum. The team that
they have got momentum. They have got momentum. Yeah.
The team that played for Arsenal yesterday, 7 changes from the cup final.
Yeah, we had one loss in 15. We've got momentum. We've had one loss in 15, and we're meant to be the best in the country. I think as well,
that team didn't have momentum. That 11
didn't have momentum, and that's because the momentum, because of the squad utilization, the chemistry's on the floor, the momentum's on the floor, the game, you got players like Norgard who aren't sharp, because they should have came on in games like all through the season to keep that sharpness topped up, and haven't done.
Yeah.
So that's down to the manager. That's what I was talking about at the beginning.
I get that, but I don't think he's of the level.
When we say about Odegaard and sort of his involvement, like I'm mindful of certain
you're going so heavy on the Odegaard thing, D.
I'm going heavy on the Odegaard thing to certain ears that are maybe still quite sentiment. You talk about sentiment about the reason why, about Kepa and being chosen by Arteta was down to sentiment. Sentiment doesn't win you titles, right? And I think there is a level of sentiment. You
can't compare the selection of Odegaard to the selection of Kepa.
There is a sentiment in the fan base around Odegaard. There is a sentiment, right? There is a sentiment about it because he's the captain, or because people have always been liking him. And I think we can't allow ourselves to not to paper over when there's been a clear error, and there's a clear, we can't deny that. We can't be in denial about what we've seen, and I do worry that wasn't looked at yesterday. Ben White was to blame for that goal, as far as certain people are concerned. There was no error from Odegaard. Odegaard did nothing wrong.
No.
Pointed to Dalman, going that way, and then he's far back it that way. That was not an error.
Odegaard didn't make an error. No one is saying that Odegaard didn't make an error. He made an error. He misplaced a pass. The argument is that
and then didn't track back. Didn't even attempt.
He jogged back, but obviously you've got to think about those moments where
if that was Eze, everyone would have gone mental.
Let me finish the point, man. Like when that period of play is going on in that moment, Arsenal are, before we conceded, we're going health. We were battering them chance after chance.
Yeah, we were.
Into plays of chance. So you got to think about in that moment where Odegaard has been the most influential player alongside Dalman in those 15 minutes in that period where we were gunning to get that opening goal, missed chances, so close.
Yeah, we were close. We were.
Give the ball away from a back heel, so he's not even facing that way towards goal anyway.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I can't judge the fact that he didn't bust a gut to get back after coming back from injury in this game after 15 minutes of dominance. I just think that's so over-analysing that moment.
I don't. I think if you've got that armband on, You need to go. You need to
No,
go
it's
one
not
more.
about the armband, man. The armband.
No,
So
oh come on,
bollocks,
Tom. You do come on, man, because
it's not. The armband doesn't suddenly give you mystical powers. It's not.
It doesn't
It's
give you
not a
mystical
thing.
powers, but there's an expectation that people need to see that example from you. And if you're the one that's not going to chase back, then what are you saying to the rest of your team? Come on, man. Right?
Mate,
You're setting a
I'm telling
precedent
you
then,
that
isn't it?
other players that have pulled the armband on in this season have
Yeah.
been in situations that
I'm
exactly
not talking
like
about
that,
other players though. I'm talking about yesterday. You said
yeah,
we're
and
talking
if
about
we're
yesterday.
talking about yesterday, to put this emphasis on Ødegaard for yesterday, it's ludicrous, mate. It's
I'm
ludicrous.
not putting the whole emphasis on him. He was just
Mate,
one of the
you are.
points I
We've
was
talked
making.
about Ødegaard for 15 minutes.
Yeah, we got into the Ødegaard debate. I just feel
you came
because
on with the Ødegaard thing.
no, I came on with the decision making, the squad utilization.
Well, why
But
did we talk about Ødegaard then?
yeah, we got onto Ødegaard because I was talking about how like it was drilled, and he was an example of how he's now. He's not the player that we saw when he first came to Arsenal. He was very, very good. And listen, we know that. Huh?
He's barely played this season. He's obviously not going to be the player that he was in those seasons. But I think to focus in on this element of yesterday, I find it bizarre. Like,
I wanted to move on, but you wanted to come back to the. I wanted to mention
because you didn't let me respond.
But the Jesus thing, you're bang on with Jesus, mate. Like he was, and again, we're seeing something with Jesus where at the point when Gyökeres came in, and we had a lot of people at one point saying Jesus should be starting over Gyökeres. We was finding a Gyökeres, there was Gyökeres still finding his feet. I'm so glad that he's kicked on and actually gone through the gears. Because now we're going to have such a devastating strike, and we need him for the running. We need him for the running. But then what we're seeing is the system now changing? Because Jesus was effective in the system previously. So are we now seeing a system which is more receptive to a Gyökeres? Are we seeing that shift now? So that is something that would be interesting to see over the next few games anyway. But yeah, man. Like I was glad to see Gyökeres coming on. I actually thought he should have started that game. I think it was again like Raya shouldn't have. For me, Raya should have started that game, and he should have started the final over Kepa. I think Kepa is just number two keeper. If your number two keeper gets you there, now you're at Wembley. That's for your number one. But again,
yeah, I get the argument. I remember speaking to some people, I think, within the club, and there was kind of a feeling that, like, if we'd have started Raya, what does that message does that send to players that you can kind of get? And I get that, but like, I just for me it was Raya all day. But anyway, D, I've got other callers.
No worries, mate. No worries. Thanks. Nice
and
chat.
it's all love, man. I know we don't see eye to eye, but it is always all love. I really appreciate
it's not that we don't see eye to eye. We're both passionate about our club, and we have opinions that we both stand firmly on, right? So, and it's one of those things that it's beautiful. I love to have the conversation because when I speak to you, I'll go away and think about some of the things you've said, and then I'll go and look for them. So I appreciate it always, Tom, and that's why I'm always here. So thank you.
Me. No, appreciate you.
All right.
Have a good rest of your Sunday, man. Enjoy your Easter.
Thank you, man. Happy Easter.
Yeah, happy Easter, mate. Amazing. I've got two Dans. I'll go in the order that they joined the call. This Dan's up first. Dan Gooner channel. How you doing, mate? You good, well? Can you see me? Can you hear me?
Oh, Dan. Hello. Yeah, I can now. Yeah.
You're all right.
Good. Don't worry. I'm not going to talk about Ødegaard.
I
did. You know what it was? I actually watched it for, at least in the first half. I thought he's playing really well. He's playing more directly. He's passing better. But for me, it's more of a question. I just wanted to get your steer on this. Like, do you feel like we're at the beginning of a process, part two, or is this just the natural end of a process? And even if we limp across the line in the Premier League, at the moment, it feels hard to kind of feel like we're going to smash through the last games and win every game, win at the Etihad, things like that. If that happens, obviously it changes the mood. But whatever happens, there's so many players. You've touched on Jesus. Miles Lewis-Skelly, people talking about going on loan. He's fallen off a cliff. There's so many players you look at. Norgard, where I've been saying for a while, let's see him. He can't be that bad. And then he actually gets a chance and it's anonymous. So is it just a question of Arteta's done a fantastic job. The process has delivered the Premier League, and it's time to shift up.
So I don't think it's binary, first of all. I think there's obviously a lot of layers to this. I've been saying it for quite a while this season. I think, if Arsenal win the league this season, I genuinely believe it can be the start of like a real period of dominance. And I think it will, I mean, I was in the women's presser the other day with Renee Slegers, and I said to her, I mean, do you notice like your women's players playing different in the Champions League after they won it last season? And like, you know, it was a very professional media-esque answer of, you know, we're professional in all games, but there was still an undertone of like, you can see the difference in a team that has won something before compared to when they haven't. And I think that if Arsenal win the league this season, you know, because all this team has done is be the nearly men, has been the bridesmaid, has been the runners up, you know, the last 3 seasons. And that plays, you know, that's in your head every game. And when you lose a cup final, as we did a couple of weeks ago, and then you go out of another competition, things start to snowball. And so if Arsenal win the Premier League this season, in my opinion, they would have won one of the most competitive Premier Leagues that we have ever seen, in my view. I think the level of the team, like the level of kind of the gap between the top team and the bottom is a lot closer than we've seen in previous years. Now, City go and win leagues with 100 points. It's an insult to the quality of the rest of the league. You know, Liverpool up there with 97 or whatever it was, you know, that season as well. I think that the outcome of this season determines the answer to your question. Because if Arsenal win the league this season, I think it could be the start of a real dynasty, potentially, and an unlocking of the mentality. If they don't win the league this season, then I've got real concern. Like real concern. Because the reality of not winning the league this season or not winning anything, because, you know, they could not win. They might, you know, if they say bottle the league, and it would be, it's one of the first seasons I'd turn around and say, yeah, 100% they've bottled it. There's no question, you know. But when it comes to like the Champions League, if they were to say lift that, then it changes the conversation, obviously. But this season for me is all about the Premier League. Like the cups were always like a bonus if we won them. But if we'd have won the League Cup and the FA Cup, but bottled the league, I don't think that would have changed much of the mentality in their minds. You know what I mean? Even though they would have lifted those 2 cups. And that's not to denigrate them. I'm just purely talking about it from a mentality perspective. This season is all about the Premier League and lifting that Premier League. So I think the answer to your question isn't binary, as I say, but I do think it is determinable by what happens at the end of the season. And if we don't win the league, you start to look at the project and say, is this as far as it could go? Now, some people thought the project could only go as far as challenging for top 4, which obviously has been proven to be very wrong. But we are now in this phase of, is this manager, is this project capable of winning and taking this team, which is capable of winning a league, in my opinion, to that Premier League title? Does that answer the question?
Yeah, it does. It does. I mean, I totally get the sentiment that, you know, like, of course, no one's saying that the FA Cup is not important, that the League Cup is not important. I remember 1993 when our league form had dropped off a cliff and we won both, and it was a year that everyone remembers really fondly. However, you can't, like, as you also touched on, you know, when you're going to lose the way we lost the League Cup final, by just not turning up, and then we looked like we didn't know what we were doing against the Championship side, who are in great form, and all the things you can say about it. Listening to Martin Keown talk about the wind in the stadium, it just feels like
that's not helpful.
No, it's not. We want to have excuses for this. We want to be able to say, there are mitigating circumstances. But a lot of this feels to me now like I can't go through this every season. I can't go through every season defending Arteta because we're still in the race in April and then having nothing to show for it. And I think that tonight or last night and this morning's first thought, you know, even if he wins the Premier League, are we going to have the same thing? There's a massive rebuild that needs to happen here. And I'm not sure I'm blaming anyone for it. I'm just being pragmatic. I'm saying that if the rebuild, Noni Madueke, there were people signing petitions, which is
it's sad. No, there's always going to be losers in a group of people. That's always going to be.
I just feel like we've got a lot of them. Do you know what I mean? We've got
but we have a huge fan base, to be fair. Like tens of millions, you know.
And the emptiest vessel makes the most noise. I get all that. But you know, it's the hardest part about being an Arsenal fan is you've got to wake up in the morning and it's the Vichy France level of Gooner fan where, you know, it's that they'll kick us when we're down. They're lying there with us and they're kicking us. And the things they're saying, though, sometimes it's hard to push back on. When they're saying, you know, I think there's seasons where people talked about bottle, which was ridiculous. 22-23 was not bottling. You know,
23-24 wasn't either. No.
Sorry,
I don't think 23-24. Like you can't draw and win 2 of what was it, like 17 games and call it bottling. Like that's just not how it works. Yeah. 24-25 was just an injury, like horrible season to endure. Like the business wasn't
and the
very good
narrative
in
is
the summer.
established by then.
Yeah,
you know,
100%,
and everyone jumps up and down on it because it's easier to not have to think for yourself. But give a dog a bad name, maybe, because right now, when it matters most, it is just about. Look, it is just about the fact that you have to question the mentality. When you know, none of us really think we're going to win the Champions League, but if we do, it'll be the greatest celebration in my 43 years as a fan. But the issue now for me is is Arteta going to be the man to take us to that next level? If he gets us the Premier League, that's a huge achievement. I'm not advocating sacking him, but what I am saying is that
you're questioning
I can't believe. I'm really a positive person. I hope I'm always an optimist, but even I'm like, hang on a minute. Do you know what I mean? Look, this is every year now.
Dan, the problem with spaces like this, spaces like social media and fandom, is that people put you into a team. Like you get attached to a label, and you're not really allowed to have a changing opinion, right? Yeah. I get put into the Arteta can do no wrong category all the time, and that's a load of rubbish. You know, I sat there last night in the press conference and was like, Mikel, you've said that we've not capitalized on chances in so many press conferences. We keep talking about this, not capitalizing on chances. If I was there to just pander to him, I would say, oh, how good was Max tonight? I could have sat there and just been like, how good was Max? But that's not my mentality. That's not, I'm like, I need to see, more. After the Wolves game, it was like, what can you tell fans that can make us believe that things are going to be okay? Because it doesn't feel okay after this draw. It felt like a defeat against Wolves, and the thing is that we get put into these categories. You don't want to sound negative, you don't want to sound overly positive, you don't want to sound this and that. The reality is, damn, you've got to shake off the labels. You just got to have your own opinion. You've got to speak what you feel, and it may be that what you end up saying or what I end up saying turns out to be wrong. And then you own it and you say, I hold my hands up. I got that wrong. I've been wrong. Gyökeres has been doing a really good job at proving a lot of my earlier thoughts wrong. Jesus has been doing a really good job at proving some of my things I was hopeful about him very wrong. Norgard's been proving me a little bit wrong recently with the disappointing, opportunities when he's been given them. Lewis Skelly at the end of last season, I thought was going to kick on and be an absolute starter and a key player and would go on from strength to strength. But he started to unfortunately prove me wrong in ways that I didn't want him to. But the only ways I want to be proven wrong, really, is when I'm being critical, which is more than what people think. And I'm sure the same is for you, Dan, So, I think that you got to shake off the fear of being tagged, the fear of being labelled, and just speak what you think, mate. And it might be that you end up changing that opinion later on.
I think it's really, I really love what you just said there, by the way. 100% life without labels, right? And the thing what you just touched on is I've always said that Arteta, for me, if he doesn't win silverware this season, will be as important in my life as Terry Neal, right? Great, thanks for everything. Didn't quite work out. We move on, and hopefully we get to George Graham quicker than we did last time. The idea, we've all been labelled Arteta in. I have never. I don't need. Exactly like you said. Keane says, I changed my mind when the facts change. What about you, sir? And that's how intelligent people are. And as for being right or wrong, I don't have any coaching badges. I've never managed at the highest level. I can't kick a football straight. What the hell do I know? The only value is that we're a community. I'm really proud of being an Arsenal fan, but in recent years, it's become defined by success and defined by the child and playground banter of sites where you have Tottenham fans singing about the fact that we lost yesterday.
No, it's embarrassing, mate.
It's incredible to me. It's incredible to me that.
But that's all they've got, though. That's all they have. They're going to go. They might go down. I had Spurs fans in my WhatsApp group yesterday tagging me and stuff. I'm like, the guile that any of you have to message me about going out of a competition you went out of at the first opportunity and may end up playing against Southampton next season in their league is just ridiculous. So yeah. We're very sensitive as a fan base, Dan. Arsenal fans are we have to own
we're attacked. We're very reactive. Look, Tom, we get attacked. I mean, you alluded to it. There are sites dedicated within our own fan base. There are sites dedicated to mocking members of our own fan base.
Yeah, of course.
And I am so
it makes some nice money, and some views and clout.
But then it's so limited as well because it has growth potential only so far, you know, like,
Sure.
and ultimately you get these people are pigeonholed in a box and then they start to crumble, complain. The same sites that will do that are the ones that come out and go, the algorithm hates me. And it's not the algorithm hating you, it's just you've reached the limit of the number of people who can tune in and be angry every day, you know? So it is that, and it does affect us. I'm sure I can't be the only one who wakes up in the morning going, I don't mind the kicking I get from Man United fans and Chelsea fans because you can laugh at them, and even City fans. But when it comes to our own fans, the questions they're asking, though, about Arteta, I have to be honest, because exactly like you said, I'm not in a label. I'm not Arteta in or Arteta out. I love a lot of what he's done. I hate a lot of what's going on at the moment. If he wins the Premier League, I'm at that parade singing his name.
Yeah. That's what being a fan is. Like,
it used to be, definitely.
It's people have these expectations of what, just because you put your face on a camera or you put your name on a tweet, like there's the expectations that now what you've said, is that's set in stone. For it's not. Like, we go based off what we see. What I'm seeing this season is a team that's won nothing since 2020. And the talk around quadruples and trebles is ludicrous. Like, what team has gone from winning nothing in 6 years to winning 3 or 4 trophies? No one's ever won 4 trophies. So the idea that the team that's won nothing since 2020 might go on and win like, I hate it. I've really tried to not write or talk about quadruples as much as possible, or even trebles when it's even dropped in the space of 2 weeks to that. It's just not on the cards, because this season is all about the Premier League. It's all about proving that we can do it, because those other trophies will come, in my opinion, after we've won the Premier League. But this season is going to prove whether or not this team, this manager, is capable of doing that. And so, and that's why, I don't ever get really bogged down in the whole play style, how we're playing. Are we reductive? Are we entertaining? Because if we win the league, I don't care. I might care next season if we've won it and we're still playing pretty restrictive, reductive football. Even if we then go and win the league, I'm still probably not going to care, if we win the league. But it's about this idea of that I think this is the way that a team in the Premier League probably wins this particular Premier League, playing this way. And obviously we know that if you look at our forward players, what Arteta's got available to him right now is Saka, who's come back from a bad injury last season, got injured at the start of this season. He's just not been firing as we've expected to. We've got Victor Gyökeres, who has played way more minutes than he should have done because Havertz got injured for the entire first half of the season and has had to adapt. Really, a worst possible opportunity for a player like him to adapt to a league, but he still scored 17 goals. Trossard and Martinelli. Trossard, I think, has been a really good signing for Arsenal, but we are evolving beyond that level of player. And Martinelli, I think we've all known for a long time, is not going to reach the level that we've needed from that player ever. I don't think he's ever going to reach that level. No. Madueke has closed the gap to the right wing option in that area and is a backup option. He's not an Arsenal starter. And then you've got players like Eze, who I think, and again, I've wanted to see Eze more on the left. We've not seen that. And I think Ødegaard as well is a player that's just been injured so much this and last season that we've not been able to get the best of him. You compare our attack to PSG, to Bayern Munich, to Manchester City after signing Semenyo, to Barcelona with Rafinha and Lamine Yamal and Lewandowski. That is clearly the area of this team that is not of the same level as those. And yet, despite that, Arsenal have the most goals of any team in the Premier League this season. Arsenal have the most goals, I think, of any team in the league phase of the Champions League prior to that. I don't know if it's still the most across all comps. Probably not after what Bayern Munich did to Atalanta. I think Bayern absolutely destroyed Atalanta, so that changed it. But, this is what I'm talking about. So this is what we are doing this season to get what we need to get, which is the Premier League. And I hope that changes and is better next season. But frankly, as long as we win it, I don't care. I don't care.
Why should when did we ever care? I didn't care in 91. I didn't care in in 89. People will always talk about the glory of 89. It was an amazing.
We nearly bottled that.
Oh, mate, we
close to bottling that.
We bottled it until
we had to go to Anfield and win by 2 clear goals.
Right,
like Wimbledon and
what
was the other team? Who's the other team? Wimbledon and
Derby.
Derby? Yeah, Derby.
Yeah, we lost to Derby 2-1 at home. You know, like, I mean, people can, when you watch the film, I don't think it brings it out enough. But here's, you know, the Colin Firth's character, Nick Hornby, he's basically how I was feeling. It's like this bloody team. I've my whole life waited to win a league, and we don't win a league because we lost to Derby and drew with Wimbledon. Yeah. And there's no way we're going to Anfield. There's literally no way this team is going to Anfield and beating them 2-0. Yeah. And then we did it. And so I don't
Isn't
care.
that funny with the Etihad coming? Because right now, like, there's no way we're winning there. I don't feel there's any way we're winning there.
It's also funny for 24 because here's the thing, the margins are this small. In 89, it's Michael Thomas up for grabs. If Grobbelaar stays up on his feet a second longer. In 24, if Palhinha does not score the equaliser for Fulham because Gabriel's not playing, maybe if Gabriel's playing and he's standing in the right position and Palhinha doesn't score, we win the league that year.
Yeah.
One goal either side. And Arteta will never get the credit for that. Like George Graham would never have got the credit if that goal doesn't go in. That's football. It's brutal. I'm sick of people telling me elite level sports is about winning games. We all know that, right? Like everybody knows that. Like it's
not some like light bulb moment.
Oh, is it? Wow, that'll be why they give the trophies. Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like we know what elite level sports is about, but we also know that elite level sports is the difference between one goal going in and not.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so this season we go to the Etihad and we score a winner in the 89th minute.
Yeah. Yeah.
I still, you know, I'm going to be celebrating like crazy. We all are. But today's the first day that I've really started to wonder, you know, is this the end of the process or is it a beginning of part 2?
Yeah. Can you hear me, by the way? I don't know if my audio has gone a bit odd. Am I still coming through all right? I
lost you a moment there, but you're back.
Okay, cool. Perfect. So as long as it's coming through now. Yeah, Dan, it's been a pleasure to chat. Really nice conversation. Really appreciate you calling in.
Thanks for having me on.
Pleasure's all mine. Enjoy the rest of your Easter, mate. Have a good one.
Cheers, mate.
Lovely stuff. Right, we've got Dan. Then I saw you're gonna have to be out your car, mate. I can't. We're not having car calls today, so we said that at the start. Daniel, how you doing, mate? You don't look particularly happy.
No, I'm fine. I'm fine.
I mean, in a way, because I know we've had many conversations on these phones. Yeah. I let a few calls go so you could listen to some of those calls maybe before I got you on. How do you feel now you've heard some of those calls? You can be honest and say I don't feel any different.
Some I did agree with.
Yeah.
Some I didn't necessarily agree with. Yeah. But I'm having such a polarizing season for my two teams.
Yeah.
Like for my local team, which are fighting to survive in their league. Yeah. And I've got a team that could win
the biggest trophy in the world. Yeah.
Well, yesterday. Well, for the League Cup final, 4 trophies, and now we're down to 2. But I don't think there's still that doubt in there that we're going to do it. And
this is a really interesting comment from Socks. Said no team has been in this position and had fans this unhappy the way things are going. And the reason why that is, Dan, and I think you'll empathize with this, is that, that we've been here last season and the season before and the season before. And that's why we have this overwhelming sense of dread
cycle.
Yeah.
Like year on year, and
takes its toll. It does.
Yeah, and like what baffles me is how Martin nearly got a full game when he should have been subbed off, and him losing his rag with the referee at the end. I thought, oh, for God's sake.
Who, Mikel?
No, Martinelli.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the reason why he got booked.
Because he went over and pushed the
yeah. Like literally put his hand on the referee. I'm like,
you can't do that. I know you want to get the game going, but you can't do
that. No, like I'd get rid of Kepa. I don't want to see him in an Arsenal shirt again.
Don't blame you.
Same goes for Jesus.
Don't blame you.
I think we will see him in a shirt again this season.
He'll give us 5-10 minutes.
Nelly.
Yeah. Let's be in agreement, Dan, that we don't want to see Kepa start a game for Arsenal again. We don't want to see Norgard start a game for Arsenal again. We don't want to see Ben White start for an Arsenal game again, unless Timber's injured. And we don't want to see Jesus start a game for Arsenal again. Probably Martinelli as well. And we want to see our best team play the remaining games.
No, like we will see him feature. Like
they'll feature, but I think players like Martinelli, players like Jesus, players like Norgard, they can feature from the bench and offer some respite and rest to some players when they need it. But they shouldn't be starting.
No, not at all. Gyökeres, I'm really excited for him. Like I've always rated him, and to see him score like the 4 goals in for the World Cup playoffs.
Yeah,
I thought, like now we've got a striker that's now in form.
Yeah.
And
he is a hope. He is a bright light for us at the moment.
Yeah, like
but we need to get the ball to him in those areas. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was about to say service, like you place the ball like where he wants it 9 times out of 10, or like maybe 8 times out of 10, he'll score.
Yeah.
But do I think we'll win the league this season?
9 points clear. They have a game in hand. They will play an extra game, or maybe 2, depending on their FA Cup games. We'll play some extra games in the Champions League.
Even at this stage, I'm like, no. I'm like,
that's
no.
a real shame. I think we will, but I think it will be close.
I just feel we've got the squad.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be like taste it and all, but
like what, Dan? Like what?
I take her out, get him out, get him. But
preach it, yeah.
I'm just like, maybe like he's not the guy. Like we've spent 300 million this season.
Dan.
Sorry.
Let's no. I'm not silencing you or censoring you. I'm just saying. In this moment, I absolutely get why you feel the way that you feel. Yeah. Because obviously the last 3 seasons we have come that close and not done it.
Yeah.
But before we start to go on the whole manager, I don't know if he's the guy. Let's see if he does it. Let's just see if he does it first. Because
I hope I'm wrong.
I'm going to be with you with those conversations if he doesn't. Trust me. We're going to have those really difficult chats if he doesn't do it this season. But right now, after a game where we've made 7 changes from our first team and our team's been battered with these injuries, and we played against, in my opinion, a really good team. Now, I know the whole label of they're a championship team, whatever, is bollocks to me. I think it's disrespectful to who they are because I thought they were excellent. But we weren't. And I didn't think we were. And as I said at the start of the show, I didn't think we were going to go through last night based upon everything we were expecting from the team that we're going to play, from the players that were going to be involved, and from the team we were up against. I didn't have any expectations. I just didn't. So let's see what happens in Sporting when everybody, we hope, our best team's available, and then against Bournemouth at the weekend.
Yeah, one more thing.
Yeah, of course. Go for
it. Whilst I was at my local team game yesterday, a mate of mine that supports Liverpool saying, well, Arsenal got a lucky draw again, and you see.
I don't want these draws. I don't have to go away from home in lower league sides. They're terrible draws. They're not good draws.
and you lot get the rub of the green, don't you? And I'm like, well, you still have to do it. And look what happened last night.
Yeah, exactly, 100%. Dan,
no, that's me.
Enjoy your Easter Sunday, my friend. Take yourself away from football.
I will, definitely.
And enjoy some time with his fam. Nice to speak to you, mate. And I'll catch you soon.
Mate. Bye.
See you later, pal. Isowa, Mr. Shades. He's up next. How you doing, mate? You good?
Hello, Tom. How are you doing? I'm good.
I'm not bad. I'm not bad.
Yeah, considering what happened yesterday, yeah, sure. It's not really to be a good mood, but let's discuss. I don't know. can we have like a brief discussion, or there's other callers, or you're in a hurry to leave
we
early?
let's have a 5-minute chat, mate. Let's talk to me. It's about what do you
Yeah.
want to talk about? What do you want to discuss?
Yeah, Arteta, Arteta is in a real like sliding doors moment right now. In terms of his coaching like history right now with Arsenal. Don't get me wrong, I appreciate what he has done for us, and I still do, and I hope that he clinches the title this season. But I feel like his like comparison, like a comp stat as a coach, would be Brendan Rodgers till this moment. He's more experienced than Brendan Rodgers when it comes to titles, contending for titles, but he's a nearly man or an almost champion coach like Brendan Rodgers.
Yeah.
So there is only right now, I just checked it while other guests were speaking, he could be the 9th coach to win a Premier League title once. So if he wants to put himself finally in the door of Hall of Champions alongside Klopp, Slot, Ancelotti, and the likes of those other coaches, then we can discuss: is he a perennial champion? Is he a serial winner of medals? Because right now it's not looking good. Yeah. But for now, he needs to get his
not
foot
looking good. But in terms of the league, it's not bad, is it? Like, I know what you're saying. We're out the League Cup. We lost that final. We're out the FA Cup. Momentum's on the floor. Players aren't in condition. But to say it's not looking good in the league wouldn't be accurate, would it? Because we've got a 9.
I didn't specifically. Did I say the league only? Like in general, I thought I said like. I don't know if you misheard me or not, but I just said like in general, because right now, like we don't have the Men in Black, that thing that they do where they like wipe you away from your memory. Like we as wipe your memory away. We don't have that as fans. We don't have that luxury as fans. We've been with this club like come rain or shine, hell or water, whatever it is. So we have that extra added incentive for us actually winning something with this manager, whether it is him or not. I don't really. It has to be him at this season, because just like you said earlier, I don't want to think of the dread that already we're like we're on the edge as Arsenal fans. So we don't need that extra push from other people and ourselves, because we can be very toxic as a fan base and very positive, but that whatever it's called, okay. So in terms of what I'm saying is Arteta needs to solidify himself as a manager of being at least one-time champion in order for all this negative, stereotypical bad fate and sometimes good to go away, disappear for at least one season. Of course, it's going to come back again, because that's the nature of some type of media, or of aligned media, like antagonistic media, of always bringing the negatives, just like they tried to trap us in a quadruple. A lot of people came up to me, my friends, and said, "Oh, is it potential for Arsenal to win the quadruple?" I'm like, no, it's not going to happen. Who else? If you just think logically, if we didn't win anything before, what makes you think that we're going to win a quadruple?
This is what I've been saying, mate. This is what I've been saying this show. Like, as I say, that's not our fault. That's not Arsenal fans' fault. That's rival fans and mainly the media that have been driving that narrative. We've won nothing for 6 years. To suggest that Arsenal, if they don't win more than the Premier League, they've had a bad season. Grow up, honestly. Get real.
Yeah, it's not our fault. Even like I think you mentioned this earlier with Sophie in one of the shows I watched. You said like even people that you know as colleagues, as journalists, they're like bringing it up because that's the nature of the business. That's what they have to do.
I know what they're doing. I love them. I love them. Many of them are my mates, but I don't agree with what's been written. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so it's not up to us for the media to dictate what we should think for ourselves. We have to be smarter than that and see like our team is not the most like offensively sound. Like we don't gel the best right now. We are leading the league. We're good. We're organized, but in terms of the attacking prowess, now I'm maybe also giving up on the Champions League. I'm just saying, just give me the Premier League. I don't care if it's a one title season. We didn't win. We're so like thirsty. We're so quenched for thirst that we actually need something. At least the Premier League is like the granddaddy of it all. You know, we can say, we puffed our chest. We're the kings of England. We have the biggest title in our hands right now, in our possession. Then we can think. But Arteta frustrates me a lot. He really frustrates me a lot. I like this catch-all phrases that are always uses. Tom, I'm tired of it. I don't know how you're not. That's why you're sitting in the position that you're as a journalist, and that's why I'm here as a fan. But I don't know how it doesn't get to you. Maybe it got to you yesterday. Doesn't it get to you as a you can separate yourself being a journalist and a fan when he constantly gives you the same sound bites over and over and over again?
Yeah. I hear what you're saying, but I think I would have done that anyway. Even if I wasn't in the job I'm in, I think I would have learned to try and disassociate more, because it would just eat me up. Honestly, it would just eat me up. It would consume me. So I would also learn to disassociate, even if I didn't do what I do.
So even if you're not a journalist, you would actually dissociate yourself from being a fan of Arsenal.
Yeah, of course. I know. Well, not disassociate from being a fan. I'm sorry. I've misinterpreted what you were saying. What I'm saying is that I personally feel I'm an incredibly passionate Arsenal supporter. People show their passion in different ways. Some do it by screaming and shouting. Other people are more measured, and that's the kind of the camp I put myself in. But when the game's done, I know football is it's part of my life, but it's not, family, friends, interests, they're way more important to me than football is, because football is, I can't control football. Football is completely separate to anything I have. I can control me, what I enjoy, time with my friends, time with my family. That's so much more important than Arsenal is, because it's a game. I'm not going to, I can't let football affect my mental health. It shouldn't affect my mental health. It does for people. And that's why my advice is always detach, switch off, because football shouldn't be affecting your life that greatly.
Exactly. So from you're a more measured personality trait, does not get mentally drained from football. Is that what you're trying to say? You don't allow.
I don't know. I'll tell you what. Coming home from Wolves was pretty mentally draining, but yeah, no, not as much anywhere near as say 3-4 years ago. No.
Okay, so you've been in the past, but not currently.
Yeah, I wouldn't say currently. It doesn't consume me. I remember ringing my wife after the cup final on the way home, and she was like, "You okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine." I didn't feel great about the result, but I was fine. Yeah.
So right now you're more of a mature mind state of being actually a journalist, of asking a question of Arteta that just knows within your boundary of your profession can be frustrating when he doesn't give you the right questions, or he's trying to
press conference, mate. He's someone put in the chat box earlier a comment saying Arteta always spins all your questions. It's a press conference, of course he does. Everything he's saying is going to go out written in print in Word. You can't.
Really he learned from seriously. He learned from the best. He learned from the best. Arsene Wenger. He taught him how the tricks of being a master of interviews. But in terms of Arteta, I really want him to win this. At least get in the door for once. Get in the door, and then we will see if you can become the likes of Arsene Wenger, or just be Arsene Wenger. Can you win it 3 times, 2 times, one time? We're asking for once right now. We're not asking for twice. Just get yourself in the door. In terms of the players and the aspect, I agree with everything you said. Gabriel Jesus, out. Havertz, he did an assist yesterday. Good for him. Just coming back from injury. Odegaard, I want Odegaard to be sold to. No. I said. I don't know if you heard me. I said I want Odegaard to be sacked. I mean to be.
I know you're joking.
I'm joking. I just a recall from one of your old guests.
The spirit of P has entered. I saw.
Yeah. No. Odegaard is doing well for now. The last involvement he had was 11. The best return was 23-24, or maybe 22-23, when he had 11 assists and 8 goals. Other than that, there was a comparison. One of my friends was comparing him to Bellingham. He's saying he's better than Bellingham. That was a stretch back then even. But for now, Odegaard, we just need him to be. He's going to be the main vocal point of our attack, since Eze is being injured for 1 month at least, or maybe I don't know if it's revised or he's going to come back in 2, 4, or 5 games. But we need that, unpredictability. Saka, I don't know what happened to him. He fell off a cliff. Surprisingly, when he came back from the hamstring injury from the Madrid game, and he scored in the Bernabeu, I'm like, oh, Saka's back. Yeah. Because people are saying, oh, he's injured. It's a hamstring injury. Players don't usually recover from that. I'm like, okay, but he did very well in the Madrid game. How is that possible? Is it we were bad?
You know, it's not like it's moments. You know, it's overall over the course of a number of games, you're going to get a bigger picture of what that player is going through, what that player is. You know, but you can always produce in certain moments. You just feel better on a certain day. It's just that's life, isn't it? So yes, they're always going to have moments like Saka had in Madrid, but over the course of a year and a half, 18 months, you're going to see that the level has obviously dropped as a result of those injuries. But yeah, I get what you're saying. I'm only conscious of the time now because I've got 3 more calls to get through.
Yeah, Saka needs to improve. I don't like the way that he's been playing since he got the injury. He's supposed to perform in a better output. His shot selection is very bad. He needs to be more instinctive with his passes. That combination of Timber and White maybe doesn't do the balance well. He's becoming a central midfielder, not central midfielder, attacking midfielder. From where did that come from? He's a strong guy, and you know he can control the ball with his feet. But from being a winger, then to allot time for Madueke, who's not even half the player he is, when we thought he was a left winger to add squad depth. Come on, Tom. These are decisions that are on the behest of Arteta, the manager, not the head coach. So I get that we have sympathy for Arteta. I want him to win. But when is it like time that this scapegoating of everything has to be something else other than Arteta? It's very the fixture pile up. The players are not performing well. This and that, and then we have to lay it on the door of Arteta. He's the one who said, "I want to become a team manager." They promoted him, and he accepted. He could have said, "No, I want to be a head coach." He said, "I want more control." He got the more control. He got the squad that he wanted, and then was surprised at the squad depth that he got. He's the same as last year and the year before and the year before that, where we exit the FA Cup and we exit the Carabao Cup. Might as well be
hold on a second. So, what you said, because there's an inaccuracy there, right? So, we haven't got to the quarterfinals of the FA Cup since 2020. We haven't got to a League Cup final since, was it 2018? So, he's got that squad, as you'll rightly point out, and we have progressed in both of those positions, in those competitions, to later stages. And in the Premier League, we look more likely to win the Premier League this season. And I'd argue that there's a good chance that we look more likely this season with the way the bracket has fallen and how we've performed in the Champions League to potentially win that competition as well. So I don't agree with you there, because I think actually what we've done in the market, what Arteta has done, is we've put us into better positions across all those competitions to win them. We were more likely to win everything we're in this season than we were last season.
Well, Tom, you said that we're in a likely better position. We had like a very bad injury crisis. Liverpool were in Dubai in March.
We've had one this season as well.
I get you. Yeah. And then we have done way better with just jointed players than we did with Southampton. Southampton beat us. You mentioned in your earlier monologue in the beginning, your therapy session, you're like, we have this joint players don't know how to play with each other. Sure. But then in the months of November and December and September, we didn't have players that knew how to play with each other. We had like 3 defenders down, and we still managed to like excel and be in the beat other teams.
Because in December we dropped a lot of points. You know, we were beaten by Aston Villa. We drew at Chelsea. Like after Gabriel got injured, we lost at Villa. As I say, we drew against Chelsea. Like we dropped points.
No, but we recovered. We recovered. We beat teams that are way better than Southampton. I mean, it's not an excuse to say that, because players don't know how to play with each other. Who's at fault? Who's at fault for not making them gel more within the chemistry of the team, with the hierarchy of the team, making them play more? It's Arteta. It all comes to Arteta at the end of the day.
It is, but it's still a reality. Like it is a reality. Like that structure yesterday. He played a team that basically he played as many players as he wanted to play so that he could rest for the Sporting game and for the Bournemouth game. That's what the team was.
Tom, last thing. Like you said that we have like incrementally made improvements based on the squad depth that we have. But the same squad depth that we have, we're exiting the same competition year after year. Same competition.
But we're going further in those competitions. We're more likely to win the Premier League. We're 9 points clear with obviously having played a game more, and we're in the Champions League quarterfinals. So I don't really get the argument. It's a binary way to say we went out of the cup competitions That's like saying, yeah, we went. You get the same result if you go out in the third round or the fourth round or the quarterfinal or the final. You get the same result. You win nothing.
Oh wait, Tom, wait. Yeah. Hold on 1 second, Tom. You're trying to tell me he's the third highest paid manager. I didn't pay him the money. I'm not accounted for him to make incremental changes to exit the same amount of cups he exits every year.
Do you think we're going to win the Premier League?
Yes.
So what are you talking about?
I'm giving you the argument. I'm frustrated with him.
So am I, but like, I just think to say like categorically we're still going out of those competitions. Yes, but we went out of those competitions in like the third or the fourth round, whereas now we get into the final of the League Cup, which we're frustratingly losing. It's
an incremental changes, Tom. I get you're trying to like massage it to
from the third round to the final, but you know that's just me, I guess.
Oh, okay, it's second losers. Like if it's the first loser of the rest. If you're second, you're still the first loser.
I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm just disagreeing with the way in which the painting of the picture is. That's what I'm disagreeing.
Yeah, you're adding context to it, but I'm telling you, I'm giving you like the white and black of it. I'm like, yeah,
but I don't look at football in that way. You know, I don't. The black and white way is the binary way of football. I don't look at.
I give you grace. I can go grace also. I have grace in the beard. I'm being very passionate with you, Tom.
I can tell that.
No, every once in a while we need to have this spirited debates. You know, when I get passionate, I scream a lot. That's why.
Once in a while, it's every time. But yeah,
actually,
I have to move on now, because I've got 3 more calls to get through. But I get where you're coming from. I do. I get it.
All right, Tom. See you next time, Tom. See you later.
Cheers, mate. Bye-bye. Have a good Easter. Oh, dearie me. Right, we've got 3 more calls. We've got Greg, we've got Michael, and we've got Rob. That's the order I'm going to do it in, because that's the order on my screen. So thank you so much for your patience, guys. You will get on. Michael's going to be after Greg, and then Rob's going to finish off the show. So, Greg, how you doing, mate? You good? You well?
I'm good, mate. How are you doing?
Well, that's a lot quieter than the last call that I just had.
Yeah, it's a bit. I'm bringing a bit of chill.
I appreciate chill.
Yeah, that's right.
All love for us, by the way. But
yeah, I'm on my lunch break at work at the moment, and I've listened to a few of these, getting a bit worried about everybody.
Lunch break?
Yeah,
what time is it
one.
You are?
I'm in Cornwall.
Oh, so it is 9:46.
But I 12-hour shifts, paramedic. So
nice. Oh, of course, I can see your uniform. Yes, thank you for your service.
Yeah. And I don't know, just listening to everybody now, there's a lot of negativity going around, and I just wanted to share a bit of positivity. Just tell everyone it's okay. We're in a good position. Doing the job I do, you go to all kind of stuff, and you see people really at bad times in their life, and you just want to, I don't know, you just see everyone at the moment. Everyone's getting a bit angry, a bit stressed. Chill out. We're in a good place in the league. We were potentially on for a quad, not anymore.
We never were.
Exactly. Yeah, we never were. But
no,
just enjoy it. I think I've been an Arsenal fan all my life, and I think the perspective I have now is I go into every game. We've got a great team. We've got a hell of a lot of good players. Just try and enjoy the games. Yes, sometimes they're not going to turn out the way we want, but we're challenging, and would we rather be like a few seasons ago, we're challenging for 8th, and we're looking at, we're going to get into the top 4 and things like that. Now we're in a position where we're going for the league every season. We're challenging, we're having big games. Just try and enjoy that a little bit. I know it's hard. I know it's difficult. You've got the full perspective. You've got the stress. You've got rival fans and things like that. But we support Arsenal. Try and forget about what other fans think and enjoy ourselves a little bit. It's just a perspective I wanted to try and come on and share a little bit. Seeing how down people are getting, seeing how shouty people are getting. Just cheer everyone up a little bit. We're a good team.
No, Greg, I appreciate
We're going to go for the league.
Yeah, no, look, I absolutely empathise with your friends that are also paramedics. You know, that's the stories they tell me, and I'm just like, man, the amount of anger I see just to talk about football, I think that doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of our lives. And so I appreciate your context. How long left of your shift have you got?
It's 12 hours, so I'm finishing 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So it's a long one ahead, but always try and listen to the show, always try and watch the matches, whether it be on my lunch break or whenever I can. And as I say, I really rate you, and just wanted to get a bit of positivity out there.
I rate you and what you do. So thank you, mate, for your service. I really do appreciate it. And I'm sure people do. I wish you the best for the rest of the shift and the rest.
Thank you. Yeah, it was only a quick one. Hopefully, everyone just get a smile on your face.
We needed it. We needed it.
Thank you for letting me on there, mate.
No, of course, absolute pleasure. Brilliant stuff. Thank you, Greg. And again, this is what I'm saying. The perspective. It's just so important to get it into our minds, and it's just so many more important things in this world. Just like temperatures need to come down a little bit. You can be passionate, of course. I'm passionate. I care. I'm frustrated. I'm annoyed. Yesterday was unacceptable, but the real world exists beyond football. Michael, how you doing, mate? You good, Joel?
I'm good, Tom. Can you hear me?
I can. Where are you joining me from, mate?
Nigeria.
Nigeria, brilliant. Tell me where your head's at now.
Okay. First of all, big fan. I love your work. I try and tune into the show every other day. Work gets in the way sometimes, or I'm a faithful follower. Okay, so real quick, before I begin, I want to appreciate Greg for the positive spin. Yeah, because a lot of people before him had
let's call it positive reality.
Not so positive things. Yeah, that positive slice that he brought was very important. I have a couple of thoughts. I think we're not very clinical in some games. There's some games that we play and we play very well, we score early, we dominate the play, and you put the fear of God in the opponents. But in some other games, we tend to struggle. We don't take chances early when they come, and that gives the opponents the bravery, the confidence to come out and play us more. Because there's a psychological blow that happens when you score early and when you start to put the pressure on the other team. And I think in a good number of our most recent games, we've been struggling to score early, to put the game to bed as quickly as in the first half. We saw it at City with the missed chances in the Carabao Cup. We saw it, which game was it? Even in the Wolves game, we really struggled to score on time. I really hope the manager can address it before things start to get out of hand. I think we need to be more clinical. And I have two things left to say. Our style of play is concerning. It's not very. I know there's been a lot of social media discourse about entertaining football, about stylistic football and all of that. I don't want stylistic football, but I want football that has a purpose in the way it is played. A lot of the times it seems like we pass the ball around for the sake of passing the ball around. There's no real end product in sight. We take it from the right to the left, we take it back like this horseshoe, and then we start to spam crosses into the box. There's no incisive play. There's no definitive play where you're watching the team and you see, okay, I think this is what this guy is trying to do here. It's just passing and passing. In fact, most of the times it seems like we only come to life after we concede. That's when we start to play with a bit more urgency, with a bit more risk taking, so to say, okay, let's put the ball in that dangerous position quicker. The rest of the times we're very slow. And again, it gives the opponents the confidence, the bravery to come out and to take their chances because of that style of play, for the most part, we don't get goals early enough. And it's very frustrating as an Arsenal fan. Again, lots of social media discourse about entertaining football and all of that. I don't care about entertaining football, but I want football that produces consistent results. And this style, if we keep playing like this, I think you agree with me that we will not get the kind of results they were looking for. We will falter, and that's going to be a big issue. Final point.
Just before you get to your final point, Michael. Just before you get to your final point, so keep that in your mind. Let me just reply to the thing about style of play. I'd be lying if I said that I have wildly enjoyed the incredibly entertaining and enthralling and gripping football that Arsenal have played this season. They haven't played gripping football. They haven't played enthralling football. They've played effective football. They've played football that's got them points. They've played football that's got them the most Premier League goals of any side this season, and the Premier League least amount of goals conceded of any side this season, which means is why Arsenal are currently 9 points ahead of Manchester City with a 1 game extra played. The football will concern me if it remains like that if we win the league. If we win the league this season and there isn't an improvement after whatever needs to happen in the summer, and of course that mental boost that we get from winning it, then I'll be with everybody in saying why are we still playing like this? Because we can do better. But right now, I'm not concerned about it as long as we continue to win games in the league, which is what we continue to do. Third point.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, real quick, third point. I really am frustrated with the output and the quality of some of our players, specifically Havertz,
Okay.
Gabriel Jesus, Martinelli. Those three, they concern me. I'm not going to base this off of yesterday's game, although yesterday's game is an excellent indicator. But I'm not basing it off of just yesterday's game. Odegaard can be forgiven to an extent because he's just coming back from injury. He's not fully match fit. He's not fully sharp. So I can kind of forgive him. But I think it's a problem where in a cup tie like this, the best player on the field by miles is a 16-year-old schoolboy. And then you have players with more experience who cannot produce anything substantial against the championship side team. No disrespect to Southampton, but if they were so good that they could go toe-to-toe with us, they would still be in the Premier League. They're in the championship for a reason, and we are top of the Premier League for a reason. And so it's very frustrating that we have certain players who, in a tie against the championship side, cannot produce anything of value. Havertz was, I'm not a big fan of. I love him, but recently I think his form has dipped significantly, and it bothers me that Arteta is always.
He's missed a lot of football. Yeah,
exactly, and it bothers me that Arteta keeps trying to fit him in. I know we have injuries. Merino is out, Eze is out, and all of that, but he doesn't work in the midfield. He doesn't work, and he's definitely not better than Victor. We agree. So it frustrates me when I see him on the field. He's not winning second balls. He can't impose himself physically in the middle. His passing there's a lot left to be desired. Same thing with Max.
He's not a midfielder.
Yeah, true. And then up front, when we put him up front, he's not.
Oh, we lost Michael. Oh, what a pose that is to lose Michael in. That was in the throes of passion talking about Havertz. We'll give Michael a set to see if he reconnects in just a second. I think from Havertz, Havertz has been out for 6 months so far this season, has come back and looked pretty good. He was scoring goals. He was getting assists as well, and then got injured again because it seemed that I think he came back and maybe a little bit too early. He played last night in midfield, got an assist, but that was really the main thing that he did. He had that strike that was deflected wide of the goal. I don't think Havertz is kind of the one to focus in. I certainly don't think he's the one to conflate alongside names like Gabriel Jesus, Kepa, or you've lost Michael completely, or Norgard, for instance. He's clearly a better player than those. I think he's a better footballer than Victor Gyökeres. Is he a better centre forward? We will find out. I'm not 100% sure, but we will wait and see. It's a shame that we lost Michael, but I think he got his 3 points across. We'll finish off today's show with Rob. How you doing, Rob? You good? You well?
Doing well, mate. How are you doing?
Yeah, thanks for your patience, mate. I really do appreciate it. Sorry for the
wait. Of course.
Tell me where your head's at, man.
So,
great setup, by the way. Fantastic.
Yeah, thanks. This is my music studio. So my DJ decks over there, just for fun.
Amazing. Love it.
By the way, check your DMs on Instagram.
I will. Okay.
Right.
I rarely, if it's comes as a request, I've probably missed it. So
yeah, no worries.
No worries, man.
So a bit of context, yeah. So I have lived in the States since I was a child, and I didn't really watch football much just because of the way I was brought up. My dad was American, so it was really American football type, whatever.
Yeah.
So
sorry.
I didn't really follow up with it, but I got into sports to sort of distract myself because I'm a recovering addict. I've been clean for about 8 years.
Congratulations.
And thank you, mate. Appreciate it. And I wanted to get into something that would sort of draw my attention. So about 2023, I started just watching Premier League games on Peacock over here in the States, and just really connected with Arsenal. I'm London born, so I wanted a London club to support. And I've just really, as you can tell, I mean, I've divin into it.
A tad, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I won't show you my tattoo, but I've got a tattoo. So,
nice.
I think since I've started supporting Arsenal, it's been difficult to because that's the year really that it all just started to hit. Everything was rising. I wasn't aware, I was beginning of the season, but
yeah, of course.
So now, having 3 years, having watched Arsenal get closer and closer and closer, it's hard for me to see certain individuals get really hurt and complexed by the performances that we've had recently.
I mean, you've seen that graphic of the guy who's digging and he's like so close to like the diamonds and then turns around and walks away.
Yeah. And see, that's where I'm at right now, is I can see that we are, I don't want to, jinx anything. I'm a bit superstitious, just stitious, not
Calafiori vibes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I can see the league is right there.
Yeah.
And that is all. I didn't know about the Champions League. I didn't know about the Carabao Cup. I didn't know about the FA Cup. Like, I was just, wow, the league is so great. About 2024, 25 is when I was like, oh, there's all this other stuff that we are in and can do. And the quad was fun while it lasted. You know what I mean? Like, it was fun to follow up and say, what if? It would be so amazing if it did. But to be honest with you, I think in the Carabao Cup, obviously, we put out our strongest team to go against City. And it was just unfortunate the way that it played out. There was
we didn't play our strongest team because we didn't play our best keeper. But other than that, you're absolutely right.
I tell you, my wife today was so disappointed that Raya wasn't in goal. But
she's a fan of Raya then.
She is. She loves the Spaniard. Yeah. But I've got to say, Tom, that it seems that there's so much emphasis put on these lower, like, prioritized cups that when Arteta puts out a squad that is potentially less than favorable, you've got Norgard, Miles Lewis-Skelly, certain individuals that you would look at and be like, well, why is that not, why is that not Ricardo Calafiori from the start? Why is Gabriel Jesus at the front before Gyökeres? And to be honest with you, you can see where the priorities lie. The priorities are in Europe. The priorities are in the league, and I'm okay with that. I mean, if we somehow, cross my fingers, if we somehow botch the league and end up winning the Champions League, I'll be a happy man.
Sure. Yeah. You can't really complain about winning either one of those two competitions.
Right. But if it's vice versa, I'll still be a happy man.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. When we lose or when we draw, it's just like losing for me. It's hard. I have a difficult day. My wife says, go down to your studio and just chill.
Good advice.
So, yeah, right. Yeah, she's an excellent woman, but which I'm sure that you can relate to. But
indeed, most of the time.
Yeah. Fair enough. I'll be sure.
I'm only messing. It's just if she's watching, then it's just can't give her 100% credit.
Yeah. But listen, I agree with Greg. There has to be a layer of positivity around it. Okay, and hats off to Greg with what he does. I appreciate you, mate. But just have to say that you have to be calm and be chill. Like, we're in a spot that we haven't been in ages. The last time we were in this, I mean, obviously in the league, we've been runners up multiple times, but this is the first time that it feels like we have the squad to do it.
Yeah.
And I'm of the mind, this is how I'm coping, by the way. Hopefully others can get a little bit of this copium, but the way that I'm coping with today's performance is this is right after the international break. Yeah. This is everyone's just going from different styles of coaching into this style of coaching, coming back home, basically. And I don't know about you, but when I come back home from a trip, I don't know where I've left stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I've got to reorient myself. So anyways, that's where I'm at right now, Tom. I'm just sort of hanging on and believing in the team, believing in the manager. This is, from what I understand, the best manager we've had in a really long time. I mean, to hear your words, which, by the way, I listen to daily unless, things get difficult and I need to take a break, which I always recommend that you do. Yeah. But it's just things need to simmer a little bit. You have to calm down, have faith, and be there for the squad, be a good fan, and just obviously criticize where there's criticism due.
Yeah, of course.
But on the other hand, turn it right around and be like, okay, we've done that, that's that, let's move on to the next thing.
Yeah, I think you summed up so well. It's interesting the way you talk about kind of the other cup competitions. As I say, like some of the discourse I saw, one of the things I've been given some really good advice is to, like, when I tend to do this horrible thing is if I put like an article out after the games, like, or the player ratings, or even like my morning line, within the first 10 minutes, I'm like refreshing my notifications just to see what like the initial reaction is. And someone close to me was basically like, leave it for like, see if you can leave it for an hour, like after you've posted like your piece. And I was like, what if like, because my fear is always that I've done something wrong or I've written something bad and I need to get that immediate feedback. And they were like, no, just see if you can leave it an hour. And if after an hour you still really need to see the feedback, then sure, check it. But if you get to the end of that hour and you're feeling like, oh, I haven't got that craving, to necessarily see that feedback, then you don't need to even look at it. And I think I need to get into more of a space of, because I think that, particularly because I'm posting the articles in a space like X that just is not conducive to good conversation about football. Whereas I can have conversations here because we together have built this community of more reasonable, respective thought and listening and back and forth. And it can still get passionate as it did with Isoa and with D earlier on. But it always comes back to that same argument of we all have the best intentions for one another, enjoy having and sharing this space. So I think that when I've seen some of the discourse last night, because I looked at full time when I posted the player ratings, and some of like the comments were along the lines of, I've never known a manager that, I could win the league and still deserves to be sacked. It's like those types of opinions don't deserve energy, which I understand I'm conflating and making the ironic of giving that attention energy, but I'm just using it in this example. In reality, Arsenal, as I've pointed out a few times on the show, have won nothing since 2020. Absolutely zero. They've come very close to winning things in those years. And in the last 3 years, Arsenal were never, for me, the favourites to win any of those leagues, cups, competitions, whatever. They were underdogs is the word I'm looking for, in all of those seasons. This season is the first one where, in my opinion, Arsenal have to win the league.
Because you can feel it in your gut. Because you can feel it in your gut.
We can all feel it. We all know it. We all understand it. That this season, we have to do it. We have to do it. But if like the mindset that anyone could get into to think that you can win the Premier League and you'd still think, I still think you should go, is maddening. Is absolutely astonishingly bad. Like I don't think I can really put into words how bad of an opinion that is, because what that says is that you don't understand how hard it is to win a Premier League title, what it takes to win a Premier League title, what we're up against to win a Premier League title. And the fact that we do it as well with a squad that has gone through. I mean, I've not really talked about injuries this season as I did last season, but Arsenal are on track to have more injuries this season than they had last season, which absolutely undermined their entire hope of winning anything last year.
That's actually mind-boggling.
It's maddening that Arsenal could win the league this season with everything they've gone through, and yet still, look, everyone's different. As I said, society. 60%, 20%, 20%. 60% of people, pretty good people, they're pretty reasonable. 20% of people lose their way and then they come back to reality. I think you told us a story very personal and I appreciate you doing so. You can lose your way and you can come back. There are 20% of people that can do that. And then there are 20% of people that are, just probably not worth engaging with. It's the honest answer. Yeah. So I hope you appreciate the candor of that example. But yeah,
of course,
that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, and I mean, I had a point that from what you were saying, but I've been drinking a bit, so I'm not really.
What time is it where you are?
It's 3 o'clock in the morning, Tom.
Goodness gracious me, that's ridiculous.
But I work a bank job, so I've just been enjoying my weekend.
Nice.
But
Saturday night. Enjoy it.
Yeah, exactly. But I'll close on this, Tom, and give you some of your time. But essentially
2 hours and 10 minutes. I didn't realize that. Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Go on.
Essentially, what it comes down to, right, is that we have not been in this position, like you said, up until now. And everyone having these high expectations, I can understand why you have these high expectations, because all the work we've done in the summer, and then all of the performances we've had with, Gyökeres actually turning out to be somewhat of a success this season. Declan Rice, just his work effort. I mean, I don't know if you've seen the video of him coming down the stairs, where he is just like, he looks broken. He looks comparable to Mikel Merino, who's on crutches in the moment.
After the League Cup final, was that?
Yeah. So I can understand where everyone is coming from with these high expectations, but I just want everyone to just take a chill pill, relax. It's okay. The fact that we've gone out of 2 cup competitions, but we're still in the Champions League. We're still in the league at top flight. It's just, it's something to appreciate. It's something to take in and be like, okay, you know what? Everything is still okay right now. Now, if we get to the end of the league and we've won nothing, there's something to say there, because that means we truly have bottled it at that point. You know what I mean? But just stay positive. Take a mental health break if you need one, and remember that you are an Arsenal fan because you love the Arsenal, right? So just continue that, and do what you do. Appreciate you, Tom.
Thanks,
also, November 1994. That's me. So I'm right there with you. Just had my first kid, but I've got 2 stepchildren.
Congratulations,
so
man.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Just want to add a little bit of pressure there. Just you're running out of time,
I bet it's brought perspective to you, mate.
Absolutely. I think this time last year, if all the same stuff was happening, I'd be fuming. I've got to be honest. I'd be fuming, and I'd be, throwing my cap and just being pissed off. But that's me in a nutshell. But thanks,
Rob,
Tom. Appreciate your time.
Thank you for being so personable and open. Really do appreciate it. I know it takes a lot to talk about that sort of thing. So, thanks, mate.
Yeah, of course.
Enjoy your evening. Go to bed, mate.
Yeah. We'll do. Baby be waking up in about an hour.
Indeed. Enjoy Easter Sunday. I don't know if Easter Sunday is out there. It's different in different countries.
Yeah, Easter Sunday today now. Yeah.
Nice one. Enjoy it. Have a good one.
Appreciate you.
Cheers, pal. I appreciate all of you listening. Thank you so much. I know I've been going on for 2 hours. I did expect that. I promised you a phone-in show over the international break, and I didn't get round to it. So when this result happened last night, I was like, I'll probably do this. I always say that it saves my voice a little bit, but I think I still end up talking more than ever. Look, I think that message, we've had a few brilliant callers today. Genuinely, absolutely fantastic callers today that have brought perspective and honesty and openness and vulnerability, passion to these conversations. And I think that it does provide you perspective. I think that after these results, I mean, some of you maybe are listening to this on catch up. By the way, if you've made it through nearly 2 hours, incredible. Thank you so much. But yeah, I just feel that the narrative that obviously we all know has been out there, that we've been fighting against for so long, from some members of the media, from rival fans, sadly from some members of our own fan base, and we've had to fight against that for so long. Don't blow it now. And this is a message not just to you as supporters, but obviously the Arsenal team. Don't blow it now. Don't let everything that has been built to this point, that we have been just craving that Premier League title, ending 22 years of hurt and frustration and pain and nearly moments. Don't let them people undermine your support. Don't let them make you make poor decisions in how you support this team, back this team, talk about this team. We can have those horrible chats if the horrible situation happens at the end, but not in April. Not with 2 months left, because we can all, cry about Arsenal bottling it if that happens. But let's us as fans not bottle it ourselves now, in the moment where it really counts, in the moment where they really need you. It's not to say that we can't be critical. It's not to say that we can't have a moan. It's not about that. But it's about being that measured fan. It's about understanding where we are. It sucks that we've gone out of the FA Cup. It sucks that we lost the League Cup final. But let's be brutally honest with ourselves. You trade those competitions to win the Premier League this season, and it might be that that is what Arsenal have done. Because if we can go and win the Premier League this season, my goodness me, what an achievement it is. Because it is one of, if not one of the most difficult seasons to have been in the competition to win the Premier League this season. The last 10, 15, 20 years, Premier Leagues have been easier to win for teams. There's been some times where absolutely it's been pretty darn competitive. There's been seasons where Liverpool and City have got way over 90 points, even 100 points. That's not going to be this season because it's incredibly tough. And if Arsenal go on to win it, it is an unbelievable achievement. An unbelievable achievement if Arsenal win it this season with everything that's happened, with all of the narrative around us, all of the noise, all of the injuries we faced that I've tried desperately not really to talk about because I think that we are overcoming that and being bigger than that. But if we can do it this season, it is a monumental achievement. So let's get behind them. Let's go into that game against Sporting, see what comes of that. Then we've got Bournemouth at the Emirates, huge game. And then the Etihad's not far behind that. And these next 4 games, I think, define Arsenal's season. 2 games against Sporting, Bournemouth at home, City away. 3 wins from those games, maybe a draw in Lisbon to get a good. We saw how good a draw can be away from home in the Champions League. We did it in Leverkusen, did the result at home. Obviously, I'd rather win them all. Even a draw at City's not a terrible result, but I think we've got to look to try and win it, obviously. But yeah, this 2 weeks is huge. So you be huge for this team. Be the biggest supporter of this team that you can be if it's just for these 2 weeks. If you've got 2 weeks left in you to be the best fan you can be, let it be in these 2 weeks. Let it be now. Don't crumble, don't crack, don't fall away, don't conflate, don't make mistakes. And let's just do everything that we can to hope that the team that we love so much can finally go on and achieve what it deserves to go on and achieve. Thank you so much for listening, people. Really appreciate your time. If you could drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, I really would appreciate it. If you need to take a break, make sure you take one. And yeah, I don't know if there'll be a show tomorrow morning, just because I'll be on a flight to Lisbon pretty early. But if I manage to record something, great. If not, I'm sorry. But obviously there's a lot going on. Thank you so much for tuning in. I will see you definitely on Tuesday morning from a hotel in Lisbon. If not, you'll have something for yourselves tomorrow morning. And yeah, looking forward to heading out to a place that apparently the weather's going to be worse than it is in London over the next 2 days. My luck with weather in these places has been ridiculously unfortunate. So let's hope some miracle happens and it actually gets a bit sunny in Lisbon. Thank you so much for tuning in. Really appreciate your time. Stay safe, stay well, stay happy and respectful. And as always, up the Arsenal.